your game. Vivo V15 Series. Vivo.
Hello and welcome to the PUBG Mobile Club Open Full Split in 2019, or of 2019 I should say. My name is Brainstorm. I am joined here by Smash for the start of what is going to be a lot of PUBG Mobiles, a lot to be played.
Yeah, we're kicking it off with the Wildcard group stage, and that's exciting. All these teams from different areas, different regions coming together. Who's going to come out on top?
Well, fortunately, we're going to figure that out. We've got a long time to figure that out as well. We will get to that. Firstly, should mention that here at PMCO 2019, we are sponsored by Vivo. Speaking of Vivo, of course, Ben, this is PUBG Mobile. If you're going to play PUBG Mobile, you need a mobile.
And a good one at that.
And a good one at that. Unfortunately, there is a good one. So if you're ready to beat out everyone else on the battleground, you can get yourself a Vivo 15 Pro for some seamless and uninterrupted gaming time. And once you've got that, of course, you still need PUBG Mobile. And you can grab that from either the App Store or Google Play, depending on what platform you are on. So if you're inspired by all the PUBG Mobile that you see played over the next, well, for us, 4 games tonight, and then, the next couple of weeks overall, then that's how you can join in the fun.
It's pretty easy to be inspired. The level of play we're going to be seeing in these games is going to be super high. At the start, we're going to have a lot of teams to play with, and we're going to whittle our way down to those very few last teams, last 16 of each region. There's a lot of PUBG Mobile to cover and a lot of PUBG Mobile to spectate. And I'm excited for all of it.
Oh, me too. It's going to be a good time. But as you said, there is a lot of teams, and this is how it's going to go overall. This is the PMCO 2019 Full Split. We have the group stage of 24 games and 32 teams. And from there, we start to whittle everyone down.
Yeah, and then we drop 8 teams. We go to the top 24. They'll play another 24 matches to decide who's going to be moving into the top 16. And there's only 10 matches to prove who's the top of the top. Right in that end part, the regional finals.
So a lot of PUBG to be played, but I mean, the elimination's going to start pretty quickly. Like 24 games is a lot, but then we lose 8 whole teams, which is a lot of players knocked out. And of course, we'll whittle another 8 away after the semi-finals. And to avoid elimination, Smash, you're going to need some points, and here's how you're going to get them.
Well, you're going to get 20 points for winning and taking a chicken dinner home, but you're still going to get a point each kill. So you can get a big game with lots of kills, lots of chicken dinner, then all of a sudden you're right at the top of the leaderboard. But you see, the point drop-off is pretty steep. It goes 14, and then 10, and then 8. So you want to be getting those high placements consistently too. It's all well and good getting one big chicken dinner, but you need to be consistent with your placings, otherwise you're going to end up in that danger zone, the elimination zone. Because
it really doesn't require much of a slip down the scoreboard before you're getting really not many points at all. But moving on from that, we do need to have a look at our first 2 groups of the evening, and that we're going to be looking at first. We've got 4 games all between Group A and Group B here.
Here we are. There's lots of groups, lots of games to be had. You might be able to pick your favorite team. You might be able to pick your favorite team now from this list and follow them out and see how they go throughout the whole tournament. That's what I'm doing. And
that's what you're doing?
It's what I'm doing. And I really want to see how the Nova guys go.
The Nova guys?
Yeah, the Nova Monster guys. I want to follow them and see what they're doing.
All right, Nova Monster for you then. All right, I'm going to pick the GoodBoys because I like the logo and the name, really. There's not much else to it from that. This is the first time for me watching PUBG Mobile, and for both of us, I mean, this tournament hasn't started. We have very little to actually go on here. Like, we can look at previous results, previous splits, but it's been a while. Rosters have changed, things have changed around a little bit.
Game's changed a little bit,
The game's changed, so basically, pretty much we just got to jump into it and see how we go. And fortunately, there's a lot for us to go on, right?
Oh, there's a lot.
Right now, sure, we don't have very much to sort of think about if we think, oh, who's going to win, who's going to do well, whatever. We don't really have too much. But 24 games just in the first stage. Another 24 after that in the semis, and then 10 for the finals.
I think after that 24 games, the first 24, we'll have a pretty decent idea of who's going well in the tournament, who's struggling a little bit and needs to adapt. And after 24 games, that's a lot of data to have. But then it starts all again with the next 24 games. So maybe those teams that have adapted can come through and place higher.
Yeah, I mean, because all you're trying to avoid, essentially, in this first stage, naturally, you'd love to be in the top sort of 8, top 6, right? You'd love to be up around there. But realistically, all you need to do in stage 1 is just not be bottom 8.
Yeah, avoid relegation.
That's the idea. Just avoid getting relegated. That's pretty much the idea. Don't be bottom 8 and just be able to move through further in the tournament. But we do need to, of course, we're playing PUBG. We need to have a look at a map, and we'll be starting off here on Erangel.
And everybody knows this map. It's the classic PUBG map. It's been around since day one, and it's a beautiful map too. I think the teams will be very familiar with this, and teams will have their own little ways of playing it in their drop zones, and I can't wait to see if there's any hot drops or any contesting early in the plane.
Yeah, and that's always something that is interesting when we come into wildcard regions, where everyone's just sort of thrown together, is that you might have multiple teams who want to loot in the same location, so we might have some territorial disputes in game number 1, but plane coming up on your screens now, starting roughly around the military base, heading essentially, what, north-northwest, if I remember how my compass directions work?
Yeah, north-northwest. It still has a lot of the map in play. Drops in Prison, Yasnaya, Milta, they might be a little bit more difficult. You might have to take those cars and rotate through there. But most of the big loot play is going to be around Pachinki, Gatka, Hospital. Those are all still in play. The military island, obviously, being in the middle of the plane path, that's good for the teams that want to stay south. It's a good plane to start off the series, I reckon. It's a good even plane. This allows everyone to get where they want to go. Severny might be a bit of a hot spot too, just because of where it is. You can still land there with the parachutes, you won't need the cars.
Well, already we've got what looks to be a lot of the teams out and moving in already. SNG Club were the very first team to drop out in the Wildcard region for PMCO 2019. They're taking for themselves a military base, and it doesn't really look like anyone else is contesting them, so they're probably going to have reasonably free looting in that area as the rest of the teams now start to spread out across the map.
Yeah, certainly. It looks like they're going to have the whole military island to themselves, the whole Sosnova island, which means that no team in Novo, that's a big wasted loot opportunity. Maybe we might see some clashing around Milta, Shelter, Prison. Looks like there's a lot of teams heading in that direction.
Doesn't look like we have too many, pardon me, doesn't look like too many teams who are going to be fighting immediately, but certainly potential for that. There is that big cluster
and that is
middle right-hand side of the map there.
That is a very fortunate circle for the way the plane path went. It's a very western circle, which means that it's basically on the plane path. So there's not going to be a lot of teams that need to hard rotate as we see Gunfight early breaking out. The car is moving, he's been tagged, but it's not going to be enough to take him down just yet. We already see 404, John Wick. He's on the kill feed already. He's taking one down, he's got a knock. Will he be able to finish it?
Oh goodness me, 404 firing past the car here. Very early engagements indeed. Kenny who's looking for trying to get himself the opening frag here, and I don't think he's fighting a player as a gun. Unfortunately, this should be the end for these players from BTLK. AAA or AA, however you'd like to say it, already knocked out. I don't think he even found a weapon, unfortunately, before he got run down.
So 404 starting off the first kill of the fall split. Goes to them. John Wick gets the credit, and it's a good way to start. Kenny gets it with a pistol, in fact, actually. You don't see that very often. But one player just getting caught out on the hot drop. Didn't get the memo, I guess.
And 404, all players already in a car and on the move. That's a good start for them, also with the early kill point.
Oh, there's spotted another one. They're going around. Pistols. He's hiding around the tree, but he's going to go down. This is another free kill, and this is a disastrous start for the team. They've already got 2 knocked out. So he just jukes around the tree, but it's not enough.
It's actually different. I think it's a different team losing one.
Sure?
I think.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I'm actually not. Yeah, it was BTLK who lost the first player.
Yep, you're right.
So there you go. But yeah, these 404 guys have got themselves a car, and they're just on a rampage. Look at them go, storming the compound, all 4 players. Pistols in hand, ready to go in. 2 players of BTLK inside the building here. And going out into the open, actually. This is very risky. BTLK have already lost lots of players, and it looks like we might just have the first team. Elim coming through here. There we go. Looks like I think everyone from BTLK is actually down. Yeah,
we are down to 15 teams. BTLK exiting very early. John Wick, he's on a rampage. Maybe he might play to watch now. He's started off with an absolute banger of a game.
I mean, he started off with one of the best names in the whole tournament as well.
Well, it's pretty appropriate, isn't it,
exactly.
The way he's taking out players?
If you're going to call yourself John Wick, you've got to slay out. But a very good start for Team 404, getting 4 elims, knocking out... Actually, no, that'd be 5 now.
Yeah,
because they
5,
found that one stray player on AQ, and they knocked out an entire team. They've got that car as well, so they're going to be in the lead for now on the points side of things.
They are a little bit behind in the looting now that they did run around in that 4-man, but I think it's worth it. Now they're going to be able to settle down, take the loot spots of the enemy that they just took out, and then they'll be able to rotate in with that car. Just hope it doesn't take too long, otherwise they could get caught in rotation. As we see teams now beginning to rotate into the circle, that south side is going to be pretty chockers. There's not going to be anyone bridge camping at the moment, which is very important. Getting that across that bridge means that SNG, or they won't be able to get across and get fully looted, and then straight into the middle of the circle. The north side, the Zaki team, they're going to be pretty looted too. The teams around Georgia also have a good amount of loot, as we see another fight breaking out. The man's rushing up the stairs, but he does get taken out. William goes down.
Goodness me, that's not a great start for S7 team. Yeah, and all their players are still around this area as well, so it's going to be a pretty tricky situation for them. Those reses not going to be, well, they've had their players knocked out, so obviously res is not possible, so down to 2 players already, and our first game here for the fall split, starting off with quite a lot of kills very quickly. A couple of players from AG here outside these buildings that S7, I should say, currently inhabit. In fact, all of AG. Pinning them down for now, but it looks like S7 might just be able to exit safely from the other end. Well,
yeah, AG must have heard the gunfire and they've come to collect, but I think they won't get much here. S7, they're in the circle, they don't need to move. They're probably pretty happy with their position at the moment. You can see they are kind of moving around as a group. AG haven't got the memo, though, that the S7 have exited the building. So we see them running in the open. It's quite scary. There's a buggy he's going to use to get out of there, Scorpion. Don't want to be caught out in the open versus these ARs. You'll go down very quickly.
It's also worth noting the Nova Monster guys, your team who you were going to watch, are still outside the circle up in the very top left-hand corner, but don't have too far to go.
Well, I think they'll rotate in pretty late. They're just getting all their loot. They're a very experienced team, so I feel like they'll know what they're doing here. The circle itself, the first one is pretty lenient. So, I mean, they can afford to take damage if they need to, but they might even look for a boat so they can rotate in parallel with Gatka. I think that's a pretty open area at the moment, but they'll have to do their scouting as well as they come in.
The zone now starting to move into. Still a lot of teams on this eastern side of the map getting some looting done. Worth noting as well that 404 have gone down to the military island, so it's no longer SNG who have that entire area to themselves. But
that's a very
they've been there for
play.
so long that they've got so much time to loot.
That's a very interesting play. Maybe they've I don't know, thought that Novo's unlooted, so that's a possibility to get themselves fully kitted out. Obviously, they did take those fights early, so they were a little bit late on the rotations as they run into each other in the cars, having some fun. But this first zone isn't going to do too much damage. And if they have the cars and the petrol to get back into the circle without taking too much damage, then this isn't a bad play. It's just a little unusual.
Still a lot of time for them to work with, though. That first circle, moving in quite slowly, but it is going to force some of these teams to move now, as still quite a way to go. And SNG actually might just run into these 404 guys, depending on their rotate out here. They are taking that eastern bridge.
Yeah, and GoodBoy could be waiting at the other side. They're going to get some spray down now at the moment onto GES. It's quite comical, actually, the fact that there's so many teams on this eastern side together. Still haven't rotated. They're waiting for the very last moments. There's going to be a lot of heated battles around this area coming into the circle.
Meanwhile, the boys on Deadly Squad, the zone just overtakes them, so they're getting their rotation on. So too, boys new screens there from RS, getting a move on through the hills. Just managing to stay outside of that zone, move towards the circle, but they've got, I think they're just about going to make it in front of everyone else, but there is a whole lot of teams rotating in behind them as well here. These RS boys about to have potentially a bit of pressure coming from behind, depending on how soon they stop.
Yeah, we can see 404 just tanking the blue at the moment. They know that they've got the meds to sustain through this. If they can get the loot, to get the level 3 vest, the level 2 helmets, then that's going to go very well towards the late stages of the game. Get also those ARs and DMRs so they can start picking kills off from long range and spraying down cars as they approach. They're very calculated, these players. They know how much damage they can take. As we see the last of the rotations being pulled in. I don't know where they're going to choose to come in, though. Would they choose to go across the first or the second bridge? Because it's very dangerous choosing that second bridge just because there could be a team camping there. With the first bridge, you kind of extend your rotation and you might take a little bit too much damage and burn through those meds a little too much. So we see some teams facing off against each other, hearing some movement. As the second circle has shifted very far west. This is it's a rough circle for these teams in the southeast to come up through because they're going to be going through all these choke points that teams have already established, as we can see.
These SNG boys might just catch out the RS team in rotation as well. They've spotted them out, or at least should have by now. Unless the timing maybe didn't quite go their way. Helps for us that we have players highlighted. Of course, the guys in server do not, but might have spotted them. Either way, everyone's going the same direction. They should be able to see those cars off in the distance now.
Yeah, if they don't Don't see them, they might hear them. As the players start to rotate in and find themselves in little homes, they're going to need to find a place where they can get cover quickly, so they can choose if they want to fight or if they want to just hide and then rotate again. Smoke grenades obviously a very important commodity in this game. There's 4 on the side of this SNG player already. He needs to use all of those efficiently towards the end game if he wants to survive.
Looks like SNG Club do have their rotations sorted out though. Also had an airdrop come in just a little bit west of Pachinki, so maybe one of these two teams, the GoodBoys or the GAS boys, might be able to grab that on their way through as well, but still a lot of teams around there. However, it does look like everyone's going to get their rotations in. Where are the 404 boys? Are they still down?
I believe 404 are still just having a party by themselves at the moment.
Southeast.
The team's rotating in. We had a blistering start to this game. It's kind of evened out. Now everyone's kind of a bit intimidated, I think, about how fast 404 started. They're just watching themselves, trying to get their rotations in, trying to get to those positions to give them those even fights.
I mean, we lost a team. We lost our first team in probably 3 minutes, I would say, within 3 or 4 minutes of drop. So no one wants to be that team who goes out that quickly.
I want to see if that's a planned thing. I want to see if 404 continue to drop onto that team and take them out. Maybe.
You reckon they're counter-strateging that specific team or just generally trying to hot drop people?
Well, I mean, it could be a team-specific thing, but it could just be a hot drop thing. But if they favour themselves in the early game of taking those Angels, when players rarely have armor or even equipped weapons, then that could be a good strategy for them. Obviously, it's a bit of a 50-50 on what loot you find, but that could be some easy points. Like as you said, they've already racked up 5 points, which is pretty decent. As we see the teams in the north start to rotate in as well. It's going to get very, very clustered very quickly as we see an airdrop right in the middle of the zone, essentially.
Look at these 404 boys as well. Look how late that rotation is. They're still over on the far eastern side of the map. It's not quite zoomed down enough for you guys to see the map at the minute, but they're just coming past the farm, so still a way for them to go, but surely they are looted to the gills now. You want to have every single piece of weaponry and armor you could possibly want, having been in the zone for that long.
Oh, certainly, but the question for me is, what do their medicine situation look like? Because you have to burn us so much to get through that. As you see gunfire breaking out, spam on the car in the distance. It's not going to get taken out. They've cemented this hill on the side of SNG. They're king of the hill at the moment, looking over the floodplains.
They've chased the GoodBoys out as well. Of course, they still have that car, but no safety found for them just yet. And 404 boys are still on their way in, still within that zone, only just coming towards Pachinki now. They've had a player stop and swap out a car for a bike as well.
The bike is quicker, and you don't want to be stacked up in a car together. That's the worst thing that could happen, is they've looted for so long, so they're going to be low HP going into the zone. And the last thing you want is to get sprayed down, your car blowing up, and that'll be it. As we see almost tipping over.
Do they kill it?
I don't know. He's hitting the meds. He's got the radio on. Painkillers popping.
Goodness me, that's if they die to a car crash after everything they've done. Like if you wipe the very first team, you loot forever. They've got to be loaded up and kitted out. And you have a look at their inventories. There they are. If you die to a car flip, you're not impressed.
You'd be a bit embarrassed by it, wouldn't you?
Circle shifted as well. We're centering over hospital by the looks of things, and that's not actually a very good circle for it. Well, it's a decent circle, but it still has a lot of teams with a decent way north to go, and they're all converging on this southwestern corner of the hospital here.
Interesting enough, we still have Everest in play.
Oh my goodness, look at all these players.
It's a farm fest at the moment. They're just running through. There's so many bad rotations.
4 or 5 teams on top of each other here.
The gunfight finally breaks out as teams start spamming those cars. Doesn't look like anyone's blowing up just yet. You can hear the gunfire in the background popping off like firecrackers.
And there we go. SNG lost a player. The trade comes through actually on the WGI guy, and more spec coming through from NVM. Not quite able to connect with the car just yet, but kills going back and forth, knocks everywhere. Goodness me, I can't even keep up with how many players just died, but it was an awful lot.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you have these circles that kind of force you into these choke points. That beach road choke point that players thought they were going to be safe in. Turns out they were waiting.
SNG and WMGI just traded 2 players for 2 there. Both knocks and confirms.
Oh, you don't really want to be trading players. You want to be getting those kills without any punishment.
And there you go,
so unfortunate for these teams.
WatchMyGp have just gone out in 15th position. They did lose 2 players to SNG Club there, and obviously lost the final two immediately following, so unfortunate for them. But I mean, a gunfight like that was pretty much inevitable at this point, with all of these players coming in virtually via the same route. The 404 guys again are on a slower rotation. They're still free to come in behind and take their time, but everyone else was going in the same way at the same time. We can see there should be some more gunfights here in just a second. The Ghost Esports boys
he's taking hits.
Taking some hits from very long range as well, trying to cut off these rotates.
Yeah, they're just peeking out, trying to get the information of where teams are rotating so they know their next move. At the moment, they're getting peeked back and taking a lot of damage. And these teams that didn't loot as much as teams like 404, they're going to be short on meds if they keep peeking like that. And the last thing you want to do is get into a gunfight and you just don't have the meds to sustain it.
ROYALE squad boys about to grab themselves a car and rotate on in as the zone encroaches upon them. Already losing a player as well. But given that they've delayed their rotation just a little bit, they're finding themselves in a similar position to 404. That said, those 404 boys, we haven't seen too much of them, but keeping an eye on the map, we can see they're still coming in so late on these rotates.
Yeah, it is late. They're just chasing the circle at the moment, and nobody's punished them for it. I don't think teams have identified that 404 are coming in that late. But I'm surprised that nobody took any control of Everest. And you see Spraydown coming in here at the moment. He's holding it. He manages to get the knock. Just.
ROYALE squad in a big old fight with no Master Shield. These are your boys to
All the
watch.
grenades coming out.
That looks like
He's
it might
cooking it.
just be perfect as well. It should just be a touchdown.
Does get the knock.
There you go. We'll get the knock onto one more player, and that might just trigger the push out of these ROYALE squad boys, depending on just how energetic they're feeling. Grenades back and forth. The smoke is down, and they look like they're abandoning their guy. They decide the res isn't worth it. They're out.
Yeah, they're cutting their losses here. Losing one player, I mean, an unfortunate situation where they just didn't know where that team was, and they didn't get the advantage of the field. But he's passing up, and he's getting spammed as well. This Nova team could be going out very early.
They're only a 3-man as well, by the looks of things, so they might just be out already. They only had one player up in the car. I can't see if he's gone or not, but S7 having a big fight here against SVI, and they've won it. Got themselves a couple knocks, a confirmed kill or two as well, and going pretty much untraded at this point. 2 players down for them from their earlier battle with the team they eliminated, but their 2 players up, pretty much just wiped. I think most of a squad. I think it was 3 kills for their 2.
And we saw S7 camping that South
There you
Georgia pool
go.
area for such a long time.
It's the last player for
Nova
Nova
Monster
Monster. They
shield
were
out in
indeed a
13th. That is very surprising.
Well, they were the 3-man, so when
Yeah.
that guy ran off and left his teammate there in the car, he was the only player left. And of course, when you're in a car with this many teams on foot, you're going to be putting a big glowing target on yourself that says, hey, please shoot me. So unfortunately for them, there goes FBI as well in number 12, starting to whittle through the teams now pretty quickly as we get into these last couple of circles.
Yeah,
Everyone's pretty much in at this point, and now the backstab from 404 starting to come in.
Yeah, but John Wick has been knocked down. 404 have been spotted on their rotation finally. Their second fight of the game isn't going the same way their first one went. John Wick, star of the show so far. He needs to get up and help his team now.
Certainly does. The GoodBoys trying to get a couple grenades over out onto ROYALE squad. Still some snipers up on top of the ridge from Ghost Esports as well. Goodness me, 404, they've just lost John Wick again. But now
They're in a real rough
4
shape.
teams fighting, and yeah, 404.
And there they go.
There they go. They've lost everyone. They're out. They had such a good position.
They had such a great start, fantastic start, getting those 5 kills early, but unfortunately they couldn't convert it. Kenny getting taken out early just led to the rest of the team going down as they got caught on the final rotate. And then they were 10.
Then they were
top 10. Already into the top 10. Oh, getting very low RS, spamming into those windows.
There we go. 404 out number 11. We already knew it. 31 players remaining, so pretty much every team with just 3 people on average, which is pretty rough for them. Of course, we know it's not actually that way. There's bound to be a full-strength team or 2 hanging out, but it's been a pretty rough start for most of these boys. The GoodBoys are surrounded.
The next circle is going to be so important. It's coming in now. Where is it going to go? Who's it going to favor? It's gone exactly center. SNG have the high ground. They have the spot they've been camping for such a long time. This is very good for them. There's going to be some fighting to the southwest. As we can see, RS and GoodBoys, your team, the GoodBoys, they're still 4 strong.
They are, and your team's out, so...
Shocking start
to
me. But
given that I definitely made this choice on knowledge and not just I like the logo and name. Scorpion as well from S7 has found himself a sniper rifle. He must have grabbed that loot crate on the way in. Gets himself that first knock with it too.
They are only down to 2 players on this RS squad, and they're going to go up against the full-strength GoodBoys. Maybe they're pretending there's a little bit more, but it looks like they're just going to take the car. No, they choose to get out. This fight could go very pear-shaped for RS if they don't cover the angles. They are just spamming into these smokes. They know they're trying to rotate through them. Doesn't get the knock, though.
And I think that's going to be enough for them. They're pretty much going to choose to get out at this point. They've done enough. The GoodBoys have thrown a whole bunch of smokes to cover themselves on these rotations away. Don't really want to risk that. They've already taken some damage through those smokes being spammed. In the meantime, had another knock come through.
Yeah, Human going down. They could get pushed by this S7 squad. As they're rotating in the car, straight past GoodBoys. GoodBoys are going to be able to spam them down with 4 players.
So risky.
Yeah, they're getting taken out instantly. GoodBoys, they just gifted that one. As the players go down.
Someone just died from falling, is that what that was?
Jumping out the car, falling out the car, and RS are now getting picked off by the SNG squad on that high ground, waiting for the teams to rotate in on the south side of the circle.
SNG still in a very good spot. They've been in this compound for quite some time now, but pressure's starting to mount. A few teams rotating into them. The GoodBoys are still essentially stuck in the open with very little cover apart from the smokes they've thrown down. That said though, AQ squad are also not in a good spot. That Molotov might just be perfect.
Might, but it doesn't look like it's going to get the finish on the kill. They're in such a good position at the moment on the side of Delay. Delay grouped up a lot, but they're playing strength in numbers strategy. They're not splitting up, they're not splitting for the 2-2 split. They're just pushing together and working together as a team. Still in the zone.
These smokes just about keeping them alive here. Unfortunately, the buggy's been blown up, so no vehicle for them to gather. Just got to try and ride these smokes out and get some picks if they can. There goes F7, or S7, I should say, in 9th position. They had a pretty decent start to the game, but going out in 9th, that's not a lot of points for them.
Yeah, they were holed up in South Georgia Pole, and as soon as they had to move, they got punished and on the rotate, and they suddenly get taken out. So unfortunate for them. They probably would have liked a higher position in this game, given the start. Didn't get that many kill points either.
DelayNoMore boys now looking for the cars. They've parked 3 inside this house and thoroughly ruined the carpet, but they've got themselves a lot of mobility here. But the problem is they're being pinned down by this AQ team right outside. That's going to be potentially a problem for them as
the circle pops. We see both of those teams need to move, so it's kind of a game of chicken. Who's going to move first? Because there is no cover on this rotation. It's going to be either team is going to have to get into a gunfight here as they start piling into the car on the side of Delay.
The GoodBoys are starting to get picked off as well. They've been in cover just behind their smokes for so long, but that zone's going to force them to move. They still have very few places to go. Heavy spam into the cars with DelayNoMore from AQ, but not able to do enough damage, unfortunately, for them.
But Delay are running straight into another team. They've managed to get out of the cars safely enough. But they're very low, and they could get naded here. Pulled up straight onto the team of SNG that have been there forever. I'm surprised they managed to get in.
Surely SNG won't let them stay here for too long. They're going to go for the fights here, but everyone is starting to converge on this compound now. There's 4 or 5 teams all in this one area of the map. The grenade, bloody not quite going to do enough, I don't think.
You see the spam coming through from these assault rifles. SNG, they have the prime position. Everyone's coming to them. DelayNoMore still with 4 players up. They're in the prime position to take this game. They just need to close it out. AsiaGaming also in a good spot. They've been quiet.
Ooh, that grenade's going to be a problem though for Delay. Looks like it did. No, it was actually the grenade that got it done, but Delay, they've already had a player down. That's the problem. They do have 4 players up, but the majority of the 18 players left alive are all fighting over this one compound. It's AG who are sitting elsewhere, sitting pretty, letting everyone squabble.
And it is SNG just picking off these players as they come in. The GoodBoys taken out by SNG in those windows. They've really been gifted here, but they know that this compound is not theirs. The Delay guys, they're running through all together, and the spray down could happen knowing this is just...
Goodness, Delay are playing a very risky game here. They know they're stuck inside this building, they know there's teams nearby, but they do still have the man advantage. They've got the most players up in this competition, and almost able to find themselves some more frags, but there is grenades poised and ready to go, and will he get out of there in time?
And this whole time, AsiaGaming's been sitting to the north, just avoiding this conflict. And they're still, as you can see, 4 up, 4 strong, just listening to this all ring out. Now they might be in a position to take pot shots. As we see grenades thrown through windows, will that be enough to blow anyone up? No, it doesn't.
It's the problem, though, for DelayNoMore. They do have 4 players. They're one of only 2 teams with 4 players left, but
they've been knocked out a few times. They'll be feeling it on the med situation for sure.
And they're still pinned down here by the remaining players of SNG. And now AsiaGaming are pushing. They're actually going to crash into the compound here, getting in their cars and coming to force the issue.
It's another party. This is a big house party at the moment. 3 squads, all within cooey of each other. The nades come flying out now. AsiaGaming, they haven't had conflict for this whole map, so they've got a lot of utility to throw here.
They go all just throw grenades in through these windows. That's going to be rough for Delay, and there's the grenade getting the knock. They can get that res for now, but it's going to be risky as AsiaGaming certainly seem to want to force the issue here. They did come crash into this building. They're going to use all of their grenades. They're unintentionally working with SNG, and unfortunately for Delay, they were one of the other teams with 4 up as well as AsiaGaming, and everyone else is just essentially helping AsiaGaming win by knocking Delay out.
At the moment, yeah, Delay are getting 2v1 by this squad at the moment. They're just getting pincered. They got the grenades flying in from the window from the south, and then from the north, or from the north, sorry, and then from the south they have the window peek from SNG. AsiaGaming, they've pushed up into Delay's building and they're taking them all out.
That should be it. I think that will be Delay being eliminated there. It just comes down to, what, 2 teams remaining now. It's 4 players up for AsiaGaming and just 2 for SNG, who have been here for quite some time. But all of AsiaGaming are now here. They've got enough cover to be able to res up, heal up, and get their players back to full health. As you mentioned, they haven't had much conflict. They're going to have all the loot they need, all the meds and everything, to be able to heal themselves back up to full. And then in a 4v2, they can almost just go in and try and battle this out if they wanted.
They could go for those trade kills, or they could just push them out in the circle. They know where they're going to be because they have the coverage of these angles. Just having 4 players alive means you see more, and you have more information. They know they're stuck behind this RV, behind this house, and he sees the player peek. And they still have utility on the side of AsiaGaming. This is amazing for this late. Grenade comes in now. Is he going to be able to get him? No.
Yeah, they just want to go in and fight at this point. AsiaGaming want to get this one done. The 2 players, they're going to go in for the spray down. There's both the knocks they needed. It's AsiaGaming who take out match number 1 with a hefty amount of kills as well. 17 kill game for them.
That is a big start for this tournament for AsiaGaming.
What a way to points?
Yeah, what a way to put it on the map. You know, they played it pretty slow, they played it pretty smart. They just kind of rotated in safely from that north position, and by the time that end fight broke out, they were in prime position to take it in.
They were indeed, and I thought it was going to be a Delay game for all that time. I mean, well, firstly, it looked like it was going to be 404 all day. They took so long to loot. They had surely everything they needed. They had the late rotation locked down. There was nobody coming in behind them. In theory, they could have backstabbed half of the server, but unfortunately, it did not go their way. And then for the Delay boys, they just chose the wrong compound to crash into.
Yeah, no, they see, as we see this 404 guys taking out and getting those early kills, we thought, this is it. This is the start of this PUBG tournament, and like 404 already starting to clean up. John Wick got 4 in 4 minutes, it felt like. It's a fantastic start. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to get the rotation game down pat.
Instead, though, it was AsiaGaming who really just decided the whole game. They've been sitting up in their compound away from all the action for a couple of minutes there, and then decided to force the issue, and they went and crashed their cars, stormed through Delay, and then it was only the last 2 players on SNG that they had to find. And look, they managed to do it pretty cleanly as well. I'm not even sure they dropped a player in that final gunfight. So they came through the whole match with, what, 17 kills, I think we said, which would be 37 points all up, and 4 alive. That's a fantastic, that's the dream start, really, if you're AsiaGaming. They really took it to the opponent. They really sussed it out, and that push onto Delay Gaming was so perfect because the other team didn't have line of sight of them, so they couldn't help. So Delay was in an impossible position where it's either you're hiding from one team or you're getting killed by the other. And it's worth noting as well that SNG were only 2 players at that point. So AsiaGaming chose their targets very well to go for the 4-man instead of the 2. And I mean, something else we can, pardon me, something else we can mention. We both sort of said teams we wanted to look at. Your boys, Nova Monster.
Yeah, they went down pretty quick. But I feel like they're going to bounce back. I don't think they're going to stay that low for that long.
And I mean, my team, the good boys, started off okay.
I'd say they had an average game.
I think they went out like 9th or so they were also out middle of the pack. Well, pretty much mathematically exactly the middle of the pack. But either way, it was AsiaGaming who took it out. 17 kills, 20 points from the chicken dinner for a total of 37 15 above their closest competitor, SNG Club, who still had a good game. They were 2 players for most of that game and still wound up with 8 kills between them, 14 points for the second placing. The Delay Boys, of course, good placing points, but not that many kills.
No, not that many kills. They kind of played it a little bit slow, but what I want to mention about SNG Club is they had that God compound. Everyone tried to rotate through that compound, and they managed to get so many spray downs on teams as they came in. As we see the bottom of the leaderboard from this first game, we've got No Mercy. Got 5, they got 4 placement points, so not a fantastic start from them. Nova Monster Shield is the big one for me though. Seeing them drop out so early was such a surprise for me.
And then WatchMyGp, those are the boys who got essentially farmed
Yeah.
by 404 in the first couple of minutes. I'm pretty sure the first 2 or 3 players from WatchMyGp to go down didn't have guns.
No,
they hadn't even managed to loot before they were just beset on all sides by a car full of 404 players, which is not the way you want your games to start. But again, that's game 1. We've got 3 more tonight, and then we've got, I've forgotten the number, but like
24 in total. Yeah, 24 in total. So they've got a lot of time to make it.
There's a lot of games yet to go, of course. Like, it's being bottom 8 is by no means locked in for any of the teams from that game. And I think the only thing we can really take away is that good start, really good start from AsiaGaming, a dominant fashion to win game 1.
Yeah, phenomenal game. 37 points in your first game, 17 kills. That's a lot of kill points in one game to get. I think that a lot of these teams in the bottom 8, they're so close together at the moment, they won't be too stressed. There's probably like 2 or 3 points separating the bottom 8 teams. So that can be taken up pretty quickly. As we saw AsiaGaming 37 points in one game. All it takes is one of those games and you elevate yourself pretty much safely out of that bottom 8.
Exactly that. They're 15 points ahead of SNG, who came in second, which is a big buffer. 15 points is a second place, essentially, because it's 14 points for second place. So they're another second place above the people who are actually in second, or, you know, a really big kill game. So, of course, early days yet. We're not going to say that they're going to come first based off that, but they're sitting pretty after game 1.
Certainly are. They're pretty much days done for them. They can pack it up. They've got enough. They've done enough for the whole day. In my books, getting 10 points a game, that's kind of where you want to be sitting. So to get 37 straight off the bat, they're going to be very pleased with themselves.
And like you said, looking at the bottom of that leaderboard, a lot of it's just 1 point that separates all of these teams, because there's a lot of those teams in the bottom who got no kills or 1 kill. And so with their placement points, they end up on only 1 or 2 points total for game 1.
Yeah, so there won't be a lot of pressure on those teams just yet. Once we start getting into the later stages of the games, then you'll start to look and there'll be like, 5 to 10 points separating the bottom pack, and that's when you get an idea of what's going on with that.
Well, there you go. It's AsiaGaming who take out game number 1. 17 kills, 37 points, and a chicken dinner to start off the day for them. But of course, we have 3 more matches to go for this evening, and we'll be right back with the next one after a short break.
PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. Anytime, anywhere. There is a better choice. PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. A quick game for those short breaks. There is a better choice. PUBG Mobile Team Deathmatch. Endless respawn, endless fun. There is a better choice.
Up your game. Vivo V15 Series. Vivo.
welcome back. I am Smash, this is Brainstorm, and you're watching the PMCO Fall Split, sponsored by Vivo. And now, if you want to play like AsiaGaming did, you're going to need the Vivo 15 Pro.
I do want to play like AsiaGaming.
Well, everyone wants to play. It's more immersive, more powerful, and if you want to be like AsiaGaming on that Vivo 15 Pro and secure the glorious chicken dinners, that's the way to do it, the Vivo 15 Pro.
Right. I don't think it'll make me any better at the game, because I'm not good. But it's probably the best shot I have.
It is definitely the best shot you have.
I have. I'm not going to... Look, I'm bad, right? It's my fault on the front. But,
yeah.
Look, I'll keep that in mind. And if I ever decide that I might actually be good at the game, then Vivo 15 Pro is the way to do it.
It's definitely the way to do it.
Absolutely.
But we saw AsiaGaming in that last game taking out the chicken dinner. 37 points for the first game. That is incredible. Way to start the tournament. They've really set the bar high. Are we going to see a bigger game than that?
I mean, surely, right? Because we've got 58 or something games that we're playing over the next 5 weeks. But look, it's a pretty good start for them. If you're not, if you haven't been following or if you just joined, the point system we're using is 20 points for a chicken dinner. So to get 37 points, they need a 17 kill game. So look, it's a pretty hot start. You were saying that you thought we should be at like 40 points for 4 games, right? Averaging about 10 points a game. 37 in game 1 means they can pretty much just chill. If they come in 16th place the next 3 games, that's 3 points, no kills. Yep. That's your 40. Done.
Yeah, I think 40 a day is probably the bottom end of where you want to be. If you're one of these top teams, you want to be in the top 4. You need about 40 points a day. So, I mean, the way they're looking at about 100 points a day, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's how the maths works, right? If they keep going into speed, then sure. I mean, I think it's going to be maybe not immediately a 17-pointer or a 17-kill game again, but look, they certainly looked like they had it all under control, and it almost felt like they were the kings of their domain, looking down at the peasants squabbling as they had the compound up on top of the hill by themselves, and everyone else is like, what, 4 or 5 teams all in the one compound of 3 houses fighting it out around hospital there.
Yeah, that was the strange thing, that a lot of those teams, they didn't get the scouting information they needed, so they kept crashing into that compound, that where SNG was, and SNG was picking them off. They ended up losing 2 players, unfortunately, and that really cost them in that final fight versus AsiaGaming. Well, as you said, on top of the hill, they could see everything going on. They knew exactly where every team was, and they just played it, waited, and went.
Pretty much looking down, it's like, yes, fight for me. And then they come in and win, which is pretty much what you want. And I do feel bad for the DelayNoMore guys who did come in 3rd place.
Yeah.
They were in such a good spot. They crashed into that compound. They had 4 players. They knocked out 1 or 2 teams worth of players. They were feeling pretty good. And then AsiaGaming came in and essentially ignored SNG entirely and just said, right, you boys are over there, fine, help us kill Delay, and stormed the house.
Yeah.
It was, what, 6v4. It was unfortunate for them, and then from there, easy cleanup of the last 2 players for AsiaGaming. But the Delay boys were having a good game up until that point.
Well, the unfortunate thing for the Delay guys is that the nades were still there from the side of AsiaGaming, so they were shelling these nades in, and the only place they could hide was on the side that had the Singularity players there. So they were forced into either peeking the windows that Singularity were on, or SNG were on, or getting bombarded by the nades by AsiaGaming. So it kind of forces you into this impossible position. So at the end of the day, they got stormed by AsiaGaming after a few knocks came in, so they knew that they were weaker. And I mean, that's kind of how you have to play it. Once you get those knocks, you just go in, finish the squad, take their position.
Yeah, so now we do move on to a different map here. That was Erangel from map number 1. We're moving into Sanhok. Now, talk me through it. How do we think Sanhok's going to differ from the Erangel we just saw?
Well, professional players thought the Sanhok would be a faster-paced map. I don't think we're going to see as fast-paced as that Erangel game, getting the first squad knocked out in the first 3 minutes. But it is the smaller map. Car rotations are less favoured, so we saw a lot of rotation by car on the previous map of Erangel. This map, teams prefer to rotate by foot. There's a lot of SNG in close quarters combat, towards the end of the circles, just because of the way the terrain plays out. There's a lot of cover, teams can move in behind rocks and trees, and you can end up with a lot of teams left in these final circles. There are some interesting points on the map too. Places like Quarry are very unique in their architecture, so if we find a final circle in there, it can get pretty messy.
It's something that we've already seen both in, I'm sure you've seen the same thing, in watching previous PUBG Mobile and PMCO tournaments for research heading to this one, watching the games that we did during rehearsals, and even watching that game then. There's definitely a tendency for like really early combat. Like the first couple of minutes we start to see players falling, and I mean, we lost a team that were knocked out by 404 in the first 4 or 5 minutes of that last map. So it's very possible we'll see some more hot dropping coming into this, especially now that we're dropping into a smaller map.
Yeah, I want to see more hot drop in there. I want to see that early aggression. I want to see teams take that risk, because if it didn't pay off for 404 in that game, but if you get that early kill, that early lead of kills, And then you get the extra loot spot from where that team was previously looting. That can become yours now. And then if you get a big game off that, you could have a bigger game than we saw AsiaGaming. I mean, 17 kills, you could get that up to 20, 25 kills easily if you do succeed in those early game combat.
And that's another thing that we should touch on here, while we've got a bit of time to do so, is that this is, being the, pardon me, the wildcard region, good. This is teams that don't necessarily play each other all that much, right? It's not like the other regions which are established, these teams have played each other in previous PMCO splits. The wildcard region will change up a little bit just because it's a collection of a whole bunch of different places, right? So it may well be that we have 3 teams who like to loot in the same place on Sanhok or whatever it might be. And if you can force a team out of their looting position very early, then they're off balance for the rest of the tournament.
And we see we're already in the game on Sanhok, match 2 of the day of 4. So we're at the halfway point almost. We need to get this game out underway. Sanhok, it's a very small map, lots of little hidey holes. It's actually an interesting map because you can play on the roofs of most of the compounds. So there is a deceptive amount of angles that you can take. So you just need to be very aware of your surroundings. It is one of the newer maps too, so players won't be as experienced on it as they were on Erangel. As we see teams very close to each other already on the north side of the map, and it is a north circle. Tapmock, Paradise, all in play.
Speaking of very WatchMyGp are all over this. They're in a pretty scrappy engagement here, so they're just about going to get away with it, but the AG boys are right on top of them. Grenade's about to come in as well, so this could be our first couple of kills here as well.
If I'm WatchMyGp and I learn that that's AsiaGaming, I'm running for the hills. I'm heading for the hills because they were so hot last game. I wouldn't want to mess with them right now.
Especially this early as well. You don't want to go out in 16th. That said, if you're WatchMyGp and you knock AsiaGaming out in 16th, it's not going to hurt them too much because of their big game 1, but you might, be a bit of a confidence booster.
We've already seen a knock go now. AsiaGaming already knocking one out. Now it'll be a 3v4, and it looks like they have better information of where their players are positioned. With that one player knocked out, it means that someone's going to have to go res him or they're just going to leave him to die. So it's a big advantage for AsiaGaming now as you see them pushing up behind these walls, taking cover. I think we're going to see a big fight here. One of the players on AsiaGaming dropping a little bit low from the spray from the windows.
So that just gives them a little bit more information to work with here and try and figure this out. Already they've got players up inside these buildings, and that's where WatchMyGp are currently hanging out as well. So
and they'll hear the footsteps too.
Oh my goodness, they're pushing
enough.
outside right now? That's risky. I guess we need to try and make something happen. It looks like they have been able to get that res off as well. So they're back to 4 players up on that WatchMyGp side too.
WatchMyGp have a little bit of a 2-2 split here across the road. So if AsiaGaming don't flush the 2-2 split, they need to go together and take 2 of the players out immediately. If they split up, they could be in for a bit of a crossfire from WatchMyGp, which is basically what they need to do. When AsiaGaming try to push into one of the compounds to breach, they just need to get the crossfire going and take out the stragglers.
WatchMyGp still maneuvering, trying to find a way out of this. And it looks like they are starting to maneuver their way through, but AsiaGaming have a lot of territory held around them, and it's not going to be an easy rotation to get out of here.
No, fortunately enough for these teams, they are in the zone, so they don't have to move too far. They can continue just poking at each other and saying howdy, essentially. Because that's all it is at the moment. It started off pretty quick with that knock, but it's all slowed down now. As we see the AsiaGaming guys still crouching up. They've got this man here prone in the grass. He'll be getting information from the footsteps. Nade comes in, does a little bit of damage, but not enough to knock anybody.
The other thing for AG as well is that, sure, they're not, they're sitting pretty on points, right? 37 points in game 1, they're not too stressed, but it's a pride thing. You don't want to go out last after you've had such a great performance in that number 1 here. So slowing it down, playing a bit more cautiously, and actually, they might even send 2 of their players on a bit of a flank here.
Yeah, now they're invoking the 2-2 split, just trying to find one of the WatchMyGp players. Maybe not watching an angle, maybe not covering it perfectly, but it seems like everyone's just using that third-person view, using the camera angle and staying safe.
At this point, it almost looks like we might not have a movement until the circle shifts and forces it. Neither team is too keen to be the ones that go out early on. And talking briefly about, again, the psychological sort of thing, as we do have our first knock coming in from one of the delay players. WatchMyGp didn't have a very good time last map.
No, they didn't.
So they don't want to go out in 16th here. And AsiaGaming, as we've said, like they won last game. They've got, they want more points. Why not extend your lead while you're so clear in front?
Yeah, we see these 2 squads. They'll just stay on top of each other for now. I don't think anything will come of this unless someone makes a vital mistake. And they do. AG poking his head out a little bit too far and he gets knocked out, punished for it. I don't think it's going to be the confirm there, but...
That said, look how close Kaukau is here.
And 404 are back in the kill feed at the start of the game. They're getting some kills onto the delay guys as they clash on the eastern side of the map, the southeast side of the map.
I don't think WatchMyGp are going to know he's this close, though.
No, that's a very cheeky position. He hasn't made any noise for such a long amount of time that WatchMyGp might not know that he's just lurking there behind that box.
That said, look at Cocktail here sneaking up the outside. They almost look like they want to try and take the initiative and find this player who's on low HP. See if they can steal that knock away, but the one thing we can be certain... Oh, the gun barrel.
I'm not sure if he saw it or not.
Might have been hidden behind the grass. 404 again in the kill feed early, getting rid of some more delay members this time, but at this point, feels like half the game hinges on this one engagement here, because AsiaGaming, if they do well in this game, they're going to extend their lead out such a long way.
And it is a good position to take too. If they can clear out this side of the map for themselves and know who's where, this is a lot of loot they could take, because these players won't be looted up too much. They didn't get that much time. They've been sitting around together, not looting for such a long amount of time. They've probably only cleared 2 or 3 buildings, each squad. This man comes out onto the balcony. Cocktail is just waiting for it. I'm not sure. He's not going to be able to get the audio cue from the crouching.
No, I don't think so.
He'll get the audio cue now.
Though. We know that he's right above him, though. This is very, very risky for Jung H. Just right on top of these players. He's hearing a lot of noise as well, but most of it's going to be his teammates running around. WatchMyGp not really moving at this point, playing the waiting game. As are we, essentially, just waiting for this circle to move. So I don't think either of these teams is going to take the initiative now. We thought it might have been a gunfight when that first knock came through, but AsiaGaming have recovered from that and don't really want to push too far. So it may well be we just wait until the circle forces something out. Swings out wide, and somehow neither him or Cocktail goes down. It looks like now AsiaGaming have decided they want to force the issue here. Jung's going to get covered just in time.
That helmet's very low too. One more tap and that's off. He hasn't got much in the way. No grenades. He's got that M4, which is a great weapon to spray down. He sees the player on the corner. Takes one bullet, but not enough. Just a bit of a love tap. But AG smell blood in the water, and they're moving around now, trying to find where this player could have run off to.
This is the most drawn-out duel. The team wants to move here.
They're not giving an inch.
Yeah, no, every time you think, hey, they're going to move now, they've just got some damage, they're going to push on this. No, they hang back. Jung is able to do a little bit of extra looting there, but no, there goes.
Again.
WatchMyGp managed to find themselves the first knock onto AG, and that res is possible. But Cocktail now might even want to go in and force the issue. He's right there.
It is risky. Taking down again another player very low. AsiaGaming are not getting the benefit of this trade at the moment.
No, certainly not. And every time they wait, the Copper's is getting further and further up. Brat's in here to try and find these kills.
Can he get the second?
He's got the 3 confirmed. He's going for the second frag. He's lost his teammates though. They're going to get sprayed down. AG somehow come out the better of it, getting 2 kills.
I think they cleaned everything.
Confirms as well, yeah. Godless is still up, but taking a lot of damage. There is a confirm coming through, so AG will lose a player, but there goes Godless. And I think that's going to be all of WatchMyGp now. Surely that should. I think that's 4.
I think there's 3 of them down at the moment. There's still 1 more player left hiding in the building.
So he is, yeah, Godless.
Godless is just crouching there, but there's a 3-for-1 trade. And looks like Godless is just leaving, but again, SNG have found this trade, this engagement. They've heard it, and now they know that players have gone down. There's some weak prey here for them.
SNG are those players who came in second last game. They're also looking for some more big plays this game.
And you can see there's no meds. There's almost no meds on the side of AG now.
Unless they can find any from the players they knocked, they're going to be in a pretty rough spot here. And SNG might just be able to move to finish this up. Meanwhile, No Mercy elsewhere on the map are getting some kills onto Nova Monster, your boys.
Another poor start from Nova Monster. Getting taken out so early. They've lost 2 players already.
Look at these positions from SNG, though. 3 of them are prone and hugging walls. There's no way that AG will know they're here. They wouldn't have made any substantial noise yet. AG would have been preoccupied with their own gunfights and now healing. They may not know these guys are this close. And if SNG are willing to play this patiently and wait for the rotate from AG, they know there's still players alive here. They might just be able to pick them off.
Yeah, I think that's what they're waiting. They're just waiting for that next queue. They know what teams are there because they've seen it in the kill feed. And if they see another AG player go down, they're going to rush in there, I believe.
Wouldn't surprise me at all. Nova Monster just lost another couple of players.
It's all going off on that eastern side of the map at the moment. It's 404 into the mess. Nova Monster managed to trade out one, but I don't think there's much in the tank left for them as one of their players gets confirmed. 404, Nova Monster trading each other very hard, but don't think there's enough in the tank for Nova Monster.
And in the meantime, other gunfights happening. 404 locked down in the open, stuck behind a couple of rocks. Dueling against Nova Monster here, but the shots working out better. John Wick getting the knock. That said, though, trades going both ways. Both teams bleeding numbers. 2 players down for both, I believe.
John Wick still alive. 404 definitely have a chance.
Aimlock is the only one alive. His teammate can't help him. He's been knocked.
Certainly
so it's
has.
essentially a 1v2
He's
here.
not in a position to res his teammate either, so aim locker.
There they go.
WatchMyGp out in the 16th place. AG, Singularly have actually pushed onto AG now as well. So we're seeing action all over the map. I don't know if this res is going to be able to come through from the side of Nova Monster. He's all...
I think he's in the zone
he's
now.
out. And 404 just waiting for his last Nova Monster player to come through.
That was it. That was the one chance for the res there as well, and John Wick denies it through. Ooh, nice shot from Aimlocker there. Left alone on his team to manage to knock down one more, but his teammate Kai has been confirmed by the zone. He's left alone in what is a 1v1 now. He's managed to take away John Wick's teammate. Both of these players, or teams, down to 1 player, I should say. That said, John Wick has the advantage of being inside the zone.
Certainly does. Aimlocker will have to push up eventually into that, and his medicine situation wasn't too great either, just because he was taking that fight for so long.
SNG, they've completely wrapped on AG.
Oh, AG is surely out here.
They're all around them. They've got Jung a little bit further back, but 2 players in the same building. A big pincer being executed by the SNG boys here.
We see
one of AG players already confirmed as well.
Our first and second place from last game already going up against each other as the spray comes out from SNG. It won't be able to collect any knocks, but they know that there's at least 2 in that building now, so they've got the surround on them.
And this is a bit of revenge from them as well. They got knocked out by AG. What was an unfair duel, right? It was a 2-on-4.
Yeah.
There was not a lot they could do, but now they're looking to do the same to AG. They've got the man advantage. They're going to start shelling them with grenades now.
Oh, it gets him too.
That's a straight down. There's 2 left. Surely this will just be a big pincer now.
They still know that there's 3 alive on the side of AG.
In they go. They're just going to go straight in and try and clean them up. Kakao at the back is going to have a lot of work to do, as he should be losing 2 teammates here in SNG. They found him as well. That's an easy confirmation of the player inside. It's just the 1 left. SNG.
And he's headed for the hills, I think.
They've surely done enough. Yeah, AsiaGaming are out of here. They're going to get their last 4 players confirmed. No, he hasn't tried to fire up. He's still there. Oh. He's hanging around and does finish. Just been around. Somehow gets the knock, but it's too little too late. AG will be out in 15th position after a massive game 1.
They had, yeah, as you said, a massive game 1, which will give them enough points to, not be too sad about this result. But unfortunately, just running into 2 teams early in the game, they didn't get the loot that they wanted. As soon as one fight was over, SNG was straight up there, ready to take advantage of the weak opponent that was AG. SNG now, they're going to get all the loot in the world from these 2 squads that have been down. And they'll be looking for another late game situation. They do have a really hard cross, though. They need to cross over over a bridge, essentially. And S7 is sitting there waiting to collect them.
They are indeed. Meanwhile, Dodgy here. A pretty rough situation. They're facing off against another team in the same compound. It's Headshot they're up against. So both teams for now happy to sit around and try and play their cover.
There'll be a lot of poking, a lot of spamming here, a lot of shooting through windows, trying to get each other, get the advantage and push in off those knocks. Sanhok is one of those maps where the buildings have a lot of windows, so you need to be very careful of where you're standing. If you rotate just a little bit, you might be vulnerable from another window. And of course, the nades on this map. The nades, the Molotovs can come out and burn you to death. All of them stacking in one building is... It's a risky situation.
It's only one player who's currently outside, floating around behind that wall, trying to see if he can get them any information. DS boys aren't moving just yet. Happy to try and play at the time, but still, they do have the more favorable position here. It's Deadly Squad, my apologies, not Dodgy. Misread the tag, but either way, I know they've got a pretty favorable advantage. They can just chill out here. John Wick, it's worth noting, is the only one on his team up. He does manage to get 1 away from Ghost, but he'll be knocked out. That will be 404 going out here in 14th place. There they are, 404 error. Out they go. John Wick, a valiant effort, but only the 1 and not able to get the confirm either, so no further points for his team.
No, that's sad. I didn't want to see 404 go out. They gave us such a good start in the last game, and again, they were in the action early this game. But that's the cost of the early game action, as we can see the action kicking off here as Headshot are pushing up, and they're getting spammed down on the player. He can be seen behind that tree. So this is already a disaster.
And that's a really
This is going to be hard
pretty
to
much
come back from.
unrecoverable res unless he moves a fair way.
The smokes are going to come out, and they might go for it.
Yeah, it looks like they just want to jump out and get this res happening, but my goodness, the boys in Deadly Squad don't want to let him already pushing up here, and G is just going to play this third-person angle, spots the door moving,
Oh,
there's the
he's
player,
gonna spot the player,
down, he's
he's
going to
gonna
go
get
straight for the confirm, and now they know that the rest of HS must be close here, going into fight, facing the hut, and immediately G might just be caught out here and will go down, but his teammates are here immediately to help out. I don't think that confirm will be possible. The angle not going to work for him just. That said though, 2 players down on Deadly Squad. They've got to play this one a little bit more carefully as HS do still have decent cover of this window in the flank and not quite going to come through from Sundead.
No, they're getting Rez's car coming out. All the smokes have been dropped. Again, they're just hiding in this building inside of Headshot. It's very, very scary stuff. And Sanhok at the moment. His teams are just kind of getting into compounds together, and they're getting into these compound fights, which can be very difficult.
Look at this next circle as well. There is 3 teams inside the next circle. Everyone else has to make a dash, and the majority of the teams are going to be forced through the one road over the bridge if that's where they want to go.
Yeah, it looks like S7 are sitting pretty at the moment. They were in South George last game as well, but ended up, unfortunately, having to rotate away. But at the moment, it doesn't look like they're going to have to rotate anywhere. So we see all the teams start to pile in on that eastern side of the map. Confirmed kill here. G goes down. But I don't think much is going to happen with that fight. We've got to play waiting in the grass, actually. He spotted one. The trigger discipline. Spray gun again. Too short. It does end up getting him. His squad mate ends up getting him.
HS, unfortunately, they're getting the worst of this exchange, getting sprayed down, but nice recovering shooting. That said, there's the flank in from Sundead, spamming away with the DMR. Should be able to confirm all of these players. I say that, though. His teammates are dropping left and right from Headshot. Elsewhere on the map, FDI lose a couple players as well. And this is going to be a bit of a chaotic rotate into this final circle here, as there is a lot of teams forced to use essentially the same road to get in.
Yeah, it is. That SNG squad, they're on the western side of the map, and they're going to have to think about how to rotate here. They do have a bridge they can get across, but S7 has full vision of that bridge. As we see another player get caught out in the open. He does manage to get behind the tree just in time.
Still looking for the confirm here on Sundead, but I mean, he shouldn't have too much trouble being able to complete this knock. He has out-rotated this player, essentially, and
It's
never mind, it's actually
stolen.
going to be Ghost from Ghost Esports. Name of the player in the team, same thing, and Sundead now just going to be forced to move with that zone. The last player on his team is going to get knocked and taken down immediately by the zone. That will be Deadly Squad out in 12th place. As the zone continues to move, forces all these teams into each other. You can see from this overhead view just how many players are on top of each other here. And S7 are continuing to do damage to SNG. SNG have a good spot, but they are the only ones on the western side of the bridge. If that zone moves further east, which it has, they've got to cross in the water or the bridge in full view of pretty much every player left in the server.
Yeah, that shift was always going to happen. The circle tries to stay away from water at these late stages of the game, and it had to shift up into the east. The west was just never going to happen. So they're forced to rotate, and this is a very difficult rotate. We can see one player heading into the north side to try and get that, because the south side is just going to be packed full of teams. They know they cleared out the north, so they're going to have to come in over the water.
They will get one player there early, but the rest of SNG will be quite late. So Krasava there is going to have to make some plays for himself. In the meantime, continuing to have big players coming out of Nox. FBI getting themselves another couple of kills. I've seen them in the kill feed quite a bit this game, so this should be a pretty decently scoring game from them. And now they know all 3 players on RS are behind this rock. If they had a grenade, it'd be perfect. But no, instead, they go out just a little bit too far, and RS are able to get some knocks. That's going to be a bit of a problem for them now as FBI start to lose players left, right, and center.
All these squads are getting so weak. There's so many squads up there with 1 or 2 players alive. As we see the boys getting sprayed down at the moment. RS, they're moving in with the blue just over this crest of the hill, so S7 can't see them yet, but they would have heard that firing, and they'll be waiting for them to crest over that hill. It's the last player getting spotted in the grass. They found it, they have.
There you go, that'll be FBI down as well. And in the last 2 minutes, all of a sudden, we've gone from 10 teams to 6 left in the game as this zone continues to shift inward. There's only 1 compound in this entire zone, and F7 have control of it.
And they're going to be camping everybody and preventing them from getting in, as we see Delay getting knocked out as well. A lot of players going down. Just the end of this is S7 are cleaning house on the kill feed.
Oh, that circle, though, that's actually forced them out of their cover. And SNG coming out of the river now are the first ones in the circle.
And Blacksnake is sitting just on the side of S7's. So he's going to hear them rotate in. He's going to know exactly when they're going to come, and he's going to call his teammates over. As he gets spammed out, though, and he goes down. He gets caught out by the side of S7.
SNG, they had a good position here. They're the first ones in the circle, and they've got decent cover behind these rocks. F7, for their part, did have a compound, but they've been forced out of it. The RS guys coming in from the top side of the zone here, too. They could indeed. SNG, actually, in the open now, choosing to go back into the water, trying to rotate to some different cover. S7 continuing to clean them up.
RS
and here comes the flank from RS as well. Now both teams potentially able to be cleaned up by RS here. They can win this from the hill.
They could. It would be a very difficult position, but you see those rocks, they're not enough covered. There's always an angle open. Either SNG or RS can get them. Also
worth noting, there's still one player on delay, Gaga. He's the only one left, but he's coming in. He could spoil all of this if they're not looking for him. They'll be looking at the other teams and not at the one sole player on the flank.
Yeah, S7 could have a thorn in their side from Gaga on the side of Delay. He is playing it very slow. He knows that there's a lot of gunfire ahead of him. As we see the spray coming out now, he's managed to get one, but it doesn't end up getting the second. SNG is sitting. SNG and mowing down S7 at the moment.
S7, that's going to be really tough for them. There is only one player left on SNG, though. It's this Krasava man on your screens currently. And all of a sudden, RS in the position of power. They do have the player advantage. Everyone else is in the open. They do have the high ground, exactly that. Unless Gaga from Delay manages to find some sort of insane angle. Yeah, they are.
They know he's there.
He's being spammed.
Very short. There he goes. S7 have dealt with the pest behind them, but he might have taken too much as he did get a kill on one of the players from S7.
Yeah, and they go Scorpion, going to bleed out as well. It's just William left, so it's 1v1v2 at this point. One player from SNG and F7 versus the two on RS, and the zone has moved to them up on top of the hill.
Certainly has. S7 knows where they are within. He's got a lot to do. He has a bike, but it's not useful in this situation. He's going for the long nade.
Big throw. Still got to worry about Krasava over there as well. At this point, almost better to just try and call some sort of truce with Krasava. Just both agree to ignore each other and take the fight towards RS.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen as the grenades from RS come raining in. Almost on the money there. That second one might be. Oh, takes him down low, but not quite cleaning up the kill.
And still this smoke favoring RS. It's coming in on top of the hill. Both of these players, the remaining one player's left. Krasava not even moving in just yet. He is still alive. He's just waiting out the zone, trying to find some sneaky timing. Williams being forced to move as well.
I think he's going to sit in the zone and just tank it out, using his meds. He knows that he's only going to feed a point if he goes in. So conserving that. But another good finish for SNG. Third place. He does end up feeding the point to RS. So they're at 10 kills now for the game. And the last player looks like he's going to go down to the zone. No, he just makes it in.
The zone, though, doing so much damage now that it's in its final sort of move. RS, once again, the circle is sticking on them, as if they needed any more advantage at this point. Now. There we go. That would be RS. They do get denied the kill by the zones. That's one less point than they could have had, but pardon me, 10 kill game, 20 points for the win for the chicken dinner, 30 all up. That's pretty good for them.
Yeah, they'll be catching up to the side of AsiaGaming, who did take out the first game, because AsiaGaming did have a bit of a poor start.
They were 14th or 13th, I think, very early.
But for me, it's SNG. They've been consistent. They've got a second place and they've got a third place now, so that's a good start for them. Yeah, they didn't get a lot of kills, but they had enough. And let's see the early fights here. AsiaGaming involved our champions from the first game. Unfortunately, they lost a player in this fight, so they didn't get away scot-free.
Yeah, I'm still so surprised they managed to pull that back in their favor. It looked like WatchMyGp were going to run away with that. They were all up in their faces. AsiaGaming, with what must have been only one player still fighting, managed to win it out, get a couple of reses across, but then did get wiped by, I believe it was SNG rotating through, pincered them.
Yeah, it was.
Not a whole lot they could do from there. And I mean, SNG, I didn't see how many kills they got this game. Let's check that out, but I feel like it was quite a few.
No, it's only got the 4 kills. They're not the most amount of kill points there.
Never mind, I was thinking up team.
But they did get the placement points. As we see the final fights here, R7, they had the perfect position on top of that hill, and they were able to get the flank onto SNG, take out a few of those members, and as S7 tried to climb in, they were ready to take advantage. And they didn't miss their shots too, which is the important thing.
And I kind of feel for SNG and S7 there, who were both ready to go inside that zone as it was moving. SNG, from a terrible position, managed to get the rotation out. S7 were already on that eastern bank of the river, and SNG managed to find their way through the river back into the zone after it shifted eastward from them. But from there, they were having a fight with each other, and then the rest of the server came and crashed the party. Yeah. They had the good positions. I think it was S7 who managed to have the only compound. And then the circle shifted away from them. There was nothing they could do.
Well, that compound can be, I don't know, fool's gold almost, because when you're trying to get out of that compound that late in the game, everyone's going to know you're going to come in from that angle. Yeah. And outside of compounds, there's not a lot of cover. So you saw as they tried to rotate away from that compound, that's where the problem started for S7. As soon as they tried to leave it, that's when the gunfire started. And RS were ready, SNG were ready to take them out. And that one player, Deadly Gaga, that's just unfortunate for S7. They wouldn't have known he was there.
No. I mean, look, it still works out pretty well for them. They have 2 high placings, a second and a third for SNG, so that will be keeping them in second overall, I'm sure, which we'll check out soon. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's where they are. They've had 2 pretty high points games off that, and for AsiaGaming, a really hot start, and then going out in 15th in this one. As you said earlier, they're not going to be bothered. They could kind of pretty much hit their point quota for the day in one game with a 37-point game 1, but I think still a little bit disappointed that they did go out that early in game 2.
Yeah, I think they will be disappointed, obviously. I mean, going out that early in any sort of format of tournament is rough, but getting that first chicken dinner is the key thing. And if they can bounce back now for the rest of the day, they just need to not let it affect the rest of their day. They need to try and get as many points as they can on day 1 to solidify themselves as a real contender for taking out the title.
That's pretty much what they're going for at this point. And I think the real winners of game 1 and 2 would be SNG. They're yet to claim a chicken dinner, but a second place and a third place, that's that consistency we were looking for. I think they would have had about the 10 kill mark in both games as well. So pretty consistent across the board from them. We'll have a look at the placings as they stand. And it's RS who managed to get themselves the win. Royale squad, the chicken dinner, 30 points in total. SNG, 14 from this game, ending up in 4th, actually. There was Ghost who came in ahead of them.
Yep. No, the Ghost ended up getting ahead of them on kill points just because of the kill points alone. So
that's right.
Ghost actually went out in 4th, but because they had so many kills, they passed them in the total points for that game. As we see, DelayNoMore, they had that one Snake player. They only got 1 kill for the game, but it was an important one as he came in. No Mercy, the Australian team coming 5 kills, 2 placement points, getting 7 in the top 8. I'd like to see that. But again, the surprise, 15th place for Nova Monster. They didn't collect much from this game either.
And look at AsiaGaming. They went out 15th, but because they still managed to snag a couple kills before they go down, they wind up in 10th. But that's it. They're tied with everyone.
Yeah, a lot of teams went out and got that 4 points. Yeah, as we see, at the end of the day, Royale squad actually moving up.
After 2 games, it's RS who managed to grab themselves a chicken dinner. 28 placement points, 30 points all up. It's not bad for them.
No, we see S7, Ghost Esports, SNG, they're all up there pretty high in total points. It's good to see that these teams are there, at least.
Exactly that. So, 2 games done, 2 to go. AsiaGaming, 20 kill points so far. I think they might be the kill leaders, but that said, that was a 17 kill game 1, so
they slowed down in game 2, but at least they got a few kills to answer. I mean, having a ripper of a game 1 and then a pretty bad game 2, it means it's still a pretty high average.
And of course, all of these teams, the bottom 16 who are 0 points across the board, they haven't played yet. So never fear, there's been no one who's been performing that badly, they just haven't played. Having a look at the leaderboard now, the kills leaderboard. AG, still with some big performances. 7 kills for Cao, 5 for
HHE?
HHE, I guess?
Yeah.
HHE?
Yeah.
Well, no, either way. 2 players in the top 5. RS with a couple of players up there as well. And your boy John Wick. His teams have had really good starts to games. They've been eliminated pretty quickly. But he's had some good times for himself.
He's got 5
kills in 2 games.
He got 4 kills in that first game really early, and he got a kill last game too when he was
like 1v everyone.
So he's doing well. His team, he's one that I don't know, he's got a cool name, he's got a cool style, he likes to frag out, get aggressive. So I'm a big fan of John Wick.
Big fan of John Wick.
Big fan of John Wick.
Movies as well, or just the player in this case?
The movie's pretty good, actually.
Oh, yeah, pretty good. You watched, the third one on the plane, didn't you?
Come over.
Good?
But I want, it was good. But I want John Wick's teammates to step up and come with him now. And if he can get 3 or 4 frags, he's averaging 2.5 kills a game.
Yep.
If the rest of his team can start averaging about 1 or 2 kills a game too, they're gonna be pretty chuffed. They'll be sitting in the top 4 for sure.
See, the problem is, you call yourself John Wick. John Wick works alone, mate.
Yeah, he does.
So that's the problem. You've kind of condemned yourself to being a lone wolf. But yeah, I mean, look, jokes about movies aside, he has had a pretty good start to the day, and I think he'll be happy with his performance thus far. Of course, still have 2 games to go tonight, so more chances for everyone to start performing, I guess. And look, I think the real big one for me is that AsiaGaming went out so early that time. It's unfortunate for them that they do go out in 15th after such a big Game 1, but of course, their Game 1 performance will carry them. That said, we have 2 more games tonight to play, but before we do that, we're going to go to a quick break, so we'll see you for Games 3 and 4 after this.
Your game, Vivo V15 series, Vivo.
Welcome back to PMCO 2019, the fall split. We are here at PMCO, sponsored by Vivo, of course. Excellent sponsorship work from them. I don't really know where I was going with that, but glad to have Vivo on board as the title sponsor of PMCO 2019. And speaking of Vivo, Smash,
Yeah.
you know they're a company, right?
Yeah, big one.
Do you know what they make?
Phones.
They do make phones.
They make good
have
phones.
one very particular phone indeed. The Vivo 15 Pro is the phone that we are talking about today to get yourself a very immersed and powerful gaming experience and get yourself a glorious chicken dinner. You need yourself a Vivo 15 Pro joined in the PUBG Mobile action. And speaking of that action, that's where we end up next. We've just had our first 2 games of Group A here in the Wildcard region of PMCO 2019. We now have 2 more. We start off over on Miramar for the first time, and then for Game 4 we go back to Erangel. So no Vikendi today.
No Vikendi today, but Miramar, a very exciting map in its own right. Lots of long-range battles can come on this map because there's lots of hills, not very many compounds, lots of defilate though for the teams playing. We saw, can Singularity or SNG keep it up throughout the day? They've got a second, they've got a third. Can they get a first?
Now here's the deal.
What?
What's a defilate?
Oh, with the dips, the hills, the dips.
Thank you so much. I don't know what that word means. I need to clarify that. All right, well, I've learned a thing today, viewers. I hope you at home have learned too. If not, I'm just the dumb one who's learned a thing. Very good. Either way, it was AsiaGaming who took out match number 1 if you've just joined us, and ROYALE squad who get the win in match number 2, with AsiaGaming going down in 15th. So a very big change up from them. I think RS was sort of middle of the pack game number 1. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, a decent performance to a good one, getting themselves a chicken dinner. Yeah,
they had a good chicken dinner too. It was a very big one. They managed to come off the top of the hill and get the flank out and clean it up. But will they go the same on Miramar? There's lots of hills and lots of flanks to be had here. Big map too. It's the same size as Erangel. So we saw that go the way of AsiaGaming. Of course, the unique weapon on this map is the Winchester, the Win94. Now that gun is
a lever action, correct?
Yeah, it's incredibly satisfying to hit a shot on that gun, as we see the plane with the dragons on it.
Oh, it's cool, dragon plane. And we've got a middle of the map, roughly, northeastern plane path. I'm really testing out my compass directions by doing this, but this puts a lot of areas on the map in play.
Yeah, we are going east to west, so it is going to be a pretty even plane path through the middle. Of course, the teams dropping in Los Leones might struggle a little bit, but everything's still in play. I don't know if there's going to be much action towards the north side. Usually teams don't mess with that too much. Picardo might pop off in this game, actually. The plane's going straight over the top of that. Power Grid, San Martin as well, another very popular place. We could see some action early in these major cities.
See, as we do get the drops underway, the first team's now starting to land. And it looks like we've got most players out of the plane at this point. FBI have gone for a very early drop and actually might be heading towards the prison island here. Not sure exactly how high in the air they are, but they could, well, they are on their own over there, absolutely. They've got free looting as well. And if that circle pops on the western side of the map, they'll be in a good spot. If not, if it's an eastern circle, then they've put themselves in probably the longest possible rotate, but they will be free to loot off the start.
Yeah, I mean, the cars on this map are pretty quick, especially if you take the roads. It's a beautiful scenic drive down that southern coast, so they won't be too sad if they have to rotate. At least they'll have something good to look at.
Well, that's the dream, isn't it? Just have a look at the scenery, hopefully not get shot. It's pretty much my goal every time I get in my car, really.
Yeah, I guess that is
it's just not particularly likely, goal. But, you know, it's the way to go. Either way, looks like we don't really have too many potential battles off the start. We do have a cluster of teams in the upper middle of the map around the water treatment plant.
There is no teams on Los Leones either. That's been completely, oh my lord, and it's gone straight there too. We have the eastern circle.
Please be an eastern island circle. I want it.
That would be the best way to kick off or have day one, as one player already goes down, falling off something very high. That would be doing that. As Nova Monster again get a player taken out very early. This has been a disaster day.
And yep, here's more players who don't have guns just yet. It's an easy cleanup for BTLK who do have weaponry. Nothing you can do. That's no mercy losing a player very quickly as well. The Australian boys losing Punisher. Nothing for Noble to really take from that, but able to get a bit of looting done.
He got the most important thing. He got the kill point.
That's the first blood as well for him there. See up on the top, and this circle, it is indeed going to be quite the hostile rotate for FBI. They do have the bottom of the map to themselves. They rotate along the southern roads and highways. They can get all the way into Los Leones, maybe if they go that far, or Puerto Paraiso.
No Mercy is still under pressure here. There's blood in the water, and it's time to feed. As see, one of their players very low still. No meds for him.
And no gun in his hands either.
Yeah, he's running around. his team. They're going to try and hold off the Sharks, but you feel it's only a matter of time before they get pushed here.
Yeah, it's not looking too healthy for No Mercy at this point. They've just been able to scrape some guns together, but they barely have the health to back it up. They will be able to run away, but it does feel like a matter of time here. They're getting chased down. Surely, at some point, this will end not in their favor. That's the best grenade ever thrown. Actually looks pretty good, but doesn't quite go in the window.
No, it doesn't. And it looks like they've managed to get away here. It's pretty difficult to chase. Yeah, it looks pretty difficult to chase in this town. You can always bait one player just sitting on a corner, and he can get a few kills for free as they run past. So probably the smart idea to let them run away and just disengage from that fight. Both teams calling it quits. One kill goes the way of the opponent, but BTLK, yeah, that was the team that did take out that No Mercy player. So now they're on the back foot.
That said, they have been granted some time to loot and recover just a little bit from that one. And already, the squad I want to point out here, pardon me, that I want to point out here is those DS boys, which is Deadly Squad. They're pretty central in this Eastern Circle, hanging out around Impala at the minute. They've pretty much got that to themselves. The rest of the lobby has to rotate their way. There's a few teams already inside the circle. WatchMyGp making their way in from the west. But the majority of the teams still have a fair way to go, and they've got time to do it. That zone is coming in very slowly indeed. There's not too much time pressure on just yet. And of course, the first circle doesn't do that much damage if you are inside the zone, but still a fair way to go, and a decent amount of time for Deadly Squad to loot and finalize their positions here, hoping the circle centers on them. Yeah,
the rest of the teams are kind of stuck on this awkward position where there's only about 4 or 5 teams inside the circle currently, so they've still got 11 teams outside looking for a way in.
BTLK is still chasing No Mercy. They've narrowed them down once again in a different compound this time, different group of houses.
You can't run from here too.
4 players. Yeah, they've got nowhere to go. Their backs are up against a cliff. They've just got to hit their shots here. They have had a chance to get some guns together, so maybe there's a chance they can find some fights here, but in a 4 against 3 in favor of BTLK, this might be a little bit difficult for them.
Does BTLK know that they're around, though? That's the question. Do they think that they've run all the way away, or...?
They certainly seem to be checking.
No. They smell something up. One smoke already deployed. No Mercy will hear them now coming up the stairs, but there's only one player in this building.
And they're about to be able to storm him from all angles. It's actually going to go up on the roof and loot as well from right under their noses or over their noses, as it were. But surely there's some info here. There you go. Spots the head. He knows they're here now. They would have heard all of this, and there's one player in this building. They're going to be sniffing around for the rest of them as well. And double barrel getting involved.
Gun you don't see a lot of, as we see the No Mercy player getting trapped under the BTLK roster, and there's now the flanks coming in as well from the other side. It's all on for Young and Old. He needs to reload. He gets them. He's down too fast.
Still got a teammate there, and Noble is contesting by himself, trying to find
he's pushing out.
Oh my goodness, big push. Noble, though, only able to get the one. That's
Ganksy's
2
all
players
alone now.
of No Mercy confirmed, surely. And as you say, it is indeed Ganksy alone. Only one on his team who can save them from going out in 16th place. He's just spotted the player coming in below him, but BTLK will be all over him at this point. 2 players already on the hunt, remaining 2 off and healing, and there we go. No Mercy knocked out in 16th place. Pretty rough start to all 3 games for them so far. I think the first game they were middle of the pack, but other than that, it's not been looking too good for the Aussies.
No, poor start for the Australian team. Unfortunate, but it's got to happen to someone. And they'll look at the map, they'll look where people are dropping, do their VOD review, and they'll come back stronger for the next day, I believe.
Absolutely. That's the thing, there's so much time to figure this out for all of these teams. The early game results are not hugely impactful if you don't do well. Of course, if you start off well, then great. You can push yourself high up early on. But if you have a slower start to this tournament, it's not as bad as it could be in other formats, as you do have so many games to bring it back.
Yeah, you've just got to make sure you get out of that bottom 8 by the end of the first 24 games. That's the key. So we see more engagements now coming. There's still a lot of teams outside this circle looting up. They are leaving it very late for these rotations. Could see a lot of action in about 3 to 4 minutes as the teams find themselves in those choke points running through together.
Headshot taking some engagements onto AsiaGaming, and after such a hot first game, then a mediocre game 2, they don't really want a similar start to their game 3 here. If you go out in 15th twice in a row, then sure, you had a great game 1, but you've almost undone it at that point, only getting a couple of points. And
yeah, certainly. And
it will be confirmed. It's a 3v4 for AsiaGaming already.
That's very problematic for AsiaGaming. They won't want to go out early again, as you said. They would have undone all the good work they did in that first game if they do. So they'll be looking to get out of this fight, most likely. They won't want to take it now.
And look how split their players are as well. They're a substantial distance away from each other, spread out around this area, around this town. They could potentially get some crossfires happening into the headshot boys if they run into the wrong angles, but they're so isolated here. AsiaGaming, 3 players essentially playing solos at this point, entirely separated from each other. Look how far away they are on that shot.
Yeah, there's absolutely no trade potential. And the way the crossfires work at the moment, there's very little chance, just because of the way the buildings are.
Yeah, there's so many walls
So
and things in
yeah,
the way.
AsiaGaming, they're definitely going to look to run away and regroup at a later stage. If they go for this fight, it'd be suicide. They'll be ending their night early almost.
And of course, there is still one more game to play this evening, but you don't want to go out like this if you're AsiaGaming. Not again. Not 15th twice in a row, especially after your 37-point game 1 when we were looking at it being like, yeah, it's early stages, but if you're going to be that strong, 4 players up, 17 kills, chicken dinner, you're feeling pretty good. To then go out in 15th twice, then all of a sudden not so much. The Delay boys all in cars, 3 vehicles, spreading out their forces, so good to see them not going down super early as they've had a rough couple starts as well. They got some additional looting here inside the warehouses too.
Yeah, it looks like they've just parked themselves up around power grid at the moment, just waiting for teams to rotate in. Maybe they're waiting for some kills to come to them. They haven't chosen to go all the way in yet, maybe finding some information.
Worth noting as well, touching on a point we made earlier in the game, just to keep everyone updated while the map isn't up. FBI are still down in that bottom left-hand corner. They are still on the mainland there around Valdemar, but the circle is now getting close to them. They've been there for so long, you'd think they've done some serious looting by now, but still, they are quite a way out of the circle. You'd think they're going to start moving quite soon.
Yeah, well, you'd hope that they've found vehicles to start going on that southern coast road. There's a lot of room on the southern side of the map. I know the map's not up at the moment on the stream, but there's a lot of room to play with there. Not many teams located in the hills.
The best vehicle for hill dashing is clearly a combi.
Oh, that thing rolls so easily, so you have to be so careful with that driving.
But think of the style points though. You're in a Humvee, dude.
Yeah, but the suspension on that thing is shocking.
Yeah, but it looks cool.
It does.
I would
look cool.
always drive a Humvee, given the a combi, given the opportunity. So
I don't think you'd last very long in the game then, because
You're
those
right.
things, very big target to shoot at.
you're right, but you look cool,
You do look very cool.
and aesthetics are important.
So you see the team dividing up. They don't want to be in the same car at all.
Is there a crate in the ocean?
There is a crate in the ocean. He's having a swim. Having a dip.
Nice, excellent. Get out and get that one then. I mean, if we end spitballing, we get a lower island circle. Someone swings out through the crate on the way.
Could change the game. Those level 3s late in the game, getting them fresh, it's very, very impactful.
I'm just waiting for someone to like go out there, find an AWM in that crate or something, and just pick everyone on the islands off.
It'd be lovely to see.
That'd be so much fun.
What we haven't seen though is 404 getting involved in early fights. The first 2 games we saw them very involved in early engagements.
Yeah, I mean,
this game, very quiet.
I guess the trade-off they're making is, sure, they would get...
It'll buff out.
should be right.
It'll buff
The
out.
trade-off we're making is that they do get a lot of kill points early. Like, we saw them pick up 3 or 4 kills both the first couple games. I think it might have even been 5 in the first few minutes in the first game. But then they were going out quite early as well. So they've clearly decided, all right, boys, we don't value the kill points as much as we do the placements. We'll try and go a little bit higher, play things a little bit more safely in game number 3. A lot of rotations coming in quite late as well. The headshot boys are still up around La Cabrera, and they're yet to start moving, really. They should have cars by now. They do have cars, but still got a fair way to go, even if they drop down through the water treatment plant.
And AsiaGaming still split up very heavily. There's not a lot of teamwork going on there at the moment. As you said, playing like 3 solos, and it looks like they're continuing that trend. There's one player still left way back in Crater Fields.
Oh, we're doing it. That circle's going to the island,
Oh
boys.
boy, it is going to the island too,
It
isn't it?
absolutely is. I'm so keen. Third game of
First-
PUBG, and we get an island circle in the first Miramar.
The first Miramar? Yeah, surely it doesn't.
No, please do.
The statistics, it can't go
I mean,
there. The
where
first
else
game.
can it really center on if it's not an island? Looking at how far out it is, it's got to go one of those compounds right on the coast.
It could hard shift west, but 404 are going straight into the town. They're running through. That car might be getting very low. A lot of teams have spotted them and spammed them out. 404 making the mad dash to try and find some cover.
WatchMyGp still
Oh, no,
around
he's-
as well, and he's fallen out of the car and gone.
And he's so far away from his teammates, there's absolutely no way he's going to get resurrected. AsiaGaming
No, he's
having
down.
a
He's
shocker.
down to the zone. He's too far away. They cannot go back for him. And the map, there you go. You can see it on the map right now. If you look in the top left, 2 players of AsiaGaming around the Hacienda, or near the Hacienda. Their last player who just went down, so far behind them. There's no way.
He was the guy stuck in Crater Fields. Oh no, that's a shocking start for AsiaGaming. Going down 15th last game. Could be on a repeat on the cards if they don't rotate well here.
Now what I want to see is like your S7s or someone who's coming in the northern side of this circle. Grab a boat and just gamble on the islands.
It might be worth sending a player out there just to gamble on the islands, get a player in the compound in the island.
Because if you can get control of that, you can just pick players off in the water.
Oh, certainly you could spam the boats out with a nice assault rifle or maybe an SMG.
Or if anyone decides to swim it.
Yeah, if anyone decides to swim it.
Risky business for them.
Then you're literally shooting fish in a barrel.
There you go. Playzone will confirm CSC, GSC, not sure which one that is, but AsiaGaming's player who did go down from the fall is going to be confirmed by the Playzone. AsiaGaming still aren't inside aforementioned zone. FBI on their rotate from the west are coming in behind SNG. And the GoodBoys are pretty clear as they come in towards Los Leones.
Yeah, Los Leones at the moment, it doesn't have any teams in it at all. So rotating through there is pretty safe. Obviously, the teams won't know that just yet, so they'll probably hesitate as they drive in. But they can be assured that there is no one there at the current moment. As we see lots of players playing on roofs, these angles are very, very nice. Yes, you're open, you're back up, but you can always rotate around to the next side of the roof, and then you're covered again.
Look at this coastal road here on the east. A lot of teams converging on it. Looks like everyone is gambling on it being close to an island circle at this point, as everyone is converging here, trying to get a compound for themselves to be set for if that circle does shift coastally. But if it goes out onto those islands, it's going to be everyone there diving for the water. It's going to be
a rush if it is those islands. Nobody at the moment in boats. No one secured any sort of water presence. If this next shift goes towards the islands, I think we're going to end the game before we get there.
Yeah, I don't think we'll actually make it to the islands. Like, there's surely, if you're looking at the map here, there's so many teams on this eastern coastal road. Sure, there's going to be some serious fighting happening. 30 seconds until we find out where we end up. Please shift east.
S7 have again found themselves in a beautiful position. Playing in these hills, there's a lot of cover to play around, and you can get out pretty easily via the cars. There's a lot of roads, or sort of narrow roads you can kind of navigate through. But playing on those hills, you can quickly prone and get down, and have managed to secure a compound as well, so they're really in a good position here.
10 seconds, here we go. We get to see exactly where this circle will push. I really wanted to go eastward just for my own amusement, but I think there's going to be a lot of gunfights happening here, no matter which way that circle moves. It should be just about to ping towards its new location.
No, it's zipping it. It's got to close in first.
True.
And so it's starting to close in now. As 404 found themselves in a good position. A lot of teams still alive. You've still got 15 teams in. The circle is getting a bit low, and see spam coming out towards these players in cars. SNG getting lit up.
It's worth noting as well, speaking about S7 again, they've really been pretty positionally good the last couple of games. They've found themselves in the later stage of the circles in good positions, ready to fight, but haven't been able to have the fights going their way so much. But still, once again, in a pretty good spot for them. The AQ boys getting some spam towards the SNG vehicles, but not able to find any damage just yet. It looks like SNG have made it to the other side of the hills and will be safe for now.
It's the second crate in the water, by the way. So both crates that have dropped on this map so far, they found themselves in the drink. Yep. It's just the way life goes sometimes.
Just be how it is.
It really do be like that.
There's actually a crate in Los Leones as well, which the GoodBoys could grab. They're the only ones over there, unless these RS players manage to find some sort of snipe line. But that is a really long distance from them to that crate.
So you see more spam coming out from AQ. They are looking to poke, but it's a very hard shot to hit from all that distance.
Shaq's ignoring that crate, by the way. He's gone straight past it, decided it's not worth.
It's a bait. Don't want to go over there. It's a trap, as Admiral Akbar would say.
Big Star Wars reference.
That was a big Star Wars reference. It was good.
Still at this point, everyone converging on this road and the hills around it. The GoodBoys under a lot of pressure. So close now.
Are they under pressure? Are they giving out the pressure?
You might be right, actually. Maybe it's turbine here. They're going to push straight for these kills either way.
He's picked up one. He's going to go for the second too. He's going to get him too.
Goodness me, there's still a player coming in, but he's fallen back. He's gone around. He's not going to be able to confirm this kill. Never mind, he's coming straight in. The third person gives it away. 3 kills.
Take that. GoodBoys, your boys, knock out the team straight away too.
Zatna, I'm going to guess, is how we'd say that? But 3 kills for himself and a team elim on his own. The rest of his team are over here fighting 404. He just 1v3'd an entire team.
That is some style points right there. He's going to want to go back and watch the VOD of that. That's very well played.
Ah, rip the dream.
The dream is dead.
The circle shifted west onto the coast.
Impala in play still. I think the players are probably breathing a sigh of relief as they don't have to try and cross the channel over to the islands.
Oh yeah, an island final circle on game 1 of Miramar and 3 of the whole split would be rough, is the politest way I could put it.
Yeah, I think rough is probably the best way you could put it too, because it's just no team prepares for that really. There's no set strategy for these island circles because they happen so infrequently. But Impala seems to be the place to be, as 404 are kind of held up in a warehouse of themselves, getting scouted by the GoodBoys, who haven't had a bad series at all so far. They haven't had a bad split so far. Early stages, but I think they'll be happy.
Especially from Zatna, your boy here on screen, getting a 1v3 against an entire enemy team on his own. You're pretty happy with that one for him. That's a lot of kill points coming through. Still 52 alive, 14 teams remain in play, and these circles are starting to shrink pretty rapidly, so slow start to game 3 on Miramar. It would have been considerably more frantic if those circles had gone eastward onto the islands, but we've been granted a reprieve from that. And the rotation's all starting to come in at the same time too.
We do see BTLK. It looks like they are in a boat.
They're going for crate?
No, they're just going around. The crate, not that valuable at the moment. They are getting shelled upon by S7. So they do manage to get in as another Nova Monster player goes down to the Good Boy guys. They were actually looking to fight 404, but
there's another crate here. It's worth noticing. English is hard, but there is another crate in play that multiple teams are looking towards now. FBI, by the way, still continuing this long west to east rotate, now on the southern coastal road, coming into the bottom of the circle, pretty much unchecked.
So we see the fight going out now. S7 getting put under pressure by the side of BTLK, but BTLK gets the first knock and he gets the finish too. It's now 3 players up for S7.
William can't quite convert the kill he needed there onto Noble. The grenade might just go deep in the area over the top, cooks it a bit. 10 seconds till left, so carefully as to not get spotted. Look at the Good Boys though. Zatna, not content with 1v3ing one team, is on the look to do it again.
Yeah, he's actually lurking pretty hard at the moment. He's pushed up all on his own sim towards this fight. He's pretty central towards the circle. I mean, not central too much, but you expect... It was a very hard west shift last shift, so you expect it to kind of center back onto Impala, or maybe just outside, just southwest of it. He's going to scout a lot of teams coming in here. Nova Monster are getting pincered by the Good Boys at the moment. They've got 2-2 split. One player from the east, one player from the west onto this Nova team. So still eyes on this BLK S7 fight. Looks like S7 have managed to sneak their way away.
BTLK have used the cover of some smoke to do some looting on the players that are down, do some killing. John Wick again getting a kill onto S-Rich from the Good Boys.
Just knocked him out. SNG might have heard that on the high ground and might push in here too. Get the punish.
And ironically, Zatna, the one player alone on Good Boys, might be the only one to survive this. His 2 teammates are about to be pushed by a team of 4, and unless SNG really bails out Good Boys here, that should be it. There's to confirm the knock. 2 players down for Good Boys now. SNG getting involved from behind as well.
SNG has the perfect line of sight here to steal kills, and they have done just that. John Wick knocked out. Another kill stolen as the Good Boy goes down. And SNG are really in a great position. Now they know that the 404 are weak, and they're just reviving. They are going to push in a little bit, take some ground, because this is a decent compound to have into this circle.
This could be a gifted crate for AQ if they decide to push towards it, but looks like they're ignoring it for now. Good Boys, their remaining 2 players are split, and unfortunately for them, with how late the rest of the lobby is rotating, most of them are going to come in behind these 2 isolated Good Boy players. 404
under immense pressure right now.
SNG is going to crash it as well.
Yeah, pulling up in the truck. Got one player just on the other side of the wall. He can't see him, obviously. The shots are coming out. They know he's there. He's dancing with these bullets and he just does drop prone, waiting for a player to come in. 404 gets one player knocked out and dead straight away. So SNG are cleaning up.
They are indeed. John Wick goes down as well. So I believe that's 404 done and dusted now. 13 teams remaining. Not the greatest of starts for them, and Good Boys, again, their players getting collapsed on all sides now, as the final zone, as you say, does start to center more towards Impala, but not too many buildings really left in this final zone.
Slay now getting involved in the kills too, as we see more teams getting into fights in Impala itself. Ghost pushing around. Nade gets pushed in through the door. He runs straight into him. Didn't manage to turn around fast enough, gets the knock though.
That'll be a couple of confirmed kills.
or not. Delay.
Still managed to pick it up. They should be able to get the confirms and maybe a res or two here as well.
Certainly going to need it if they want to continue on this. The smoke goes out. At least I'd hope that was a smoke.
I was going to say, if that's a HE, that's way overkill for inside. There you go, it doesn't need a smoke.
But we have those good boy players just kind of sitting prone inside the circle. They've split up pretty well. They're controlling two nice positions, so they could have a strong finish here.
If they can get themselves some big 1v1s. AG still in the fight, so they've not gone down in 15th this time. Still with a player down from early on, but continuing to fight and knock out some players on Headshot here.
They've managed to find the back of Headshot too, so I don't think Headshot was expecting them at all. So they managed to get some free kills, and that's what they need to do. They need to find a squad, pick off two players, and then take the 2v2.
Look at the pressure coming in onto SNG here as well. BTLK coming in behind them. FBI on the flank as well. 10 or 12 players. I mean, it is converging in this one compound in the lower east side. That's going to get messy there, but in the meantime, it is still Delay trying to fight their way free of the buildings they've found themselves in, and pressure coming in. Incredibly long range. WatchMyGp anchored on the other side as well with the far angles.
Looks like he's got the 6 times on that M4. Get some laser damage in basically with that gun. It's very accurate. This Delay takes down more. The play zone's now starting to affect that fight on that southeast side, as BTLK are getting shot at by Singularity, and they've already lost 2 players.
That circle is shifting down to the east as well, so it looks like it's going to center on the edge of this final compound. Half that last circle is going to be a cliff, effectively, which is going to be a tad difficult. But in the meantime, these two teams here, AG and Delay, just need to figure their way out of the edge of this play zone. S7 here as well, keeping the pressure up. Even one player from Ghost still hanging out. Multiple
but
players.
AQA, they do have the position on the high ground of that cliff you were mentioning, and they're just shelling down onto these players, onto FBI, onto BTLK. And that's a lot of kills they've just picked up.
That's... didn't look good for that car when he scoped out there. Maybe he's landed it. No, it doesn't look good. No,
that S7 getting 2 players taken out by the car explosion, so their rotation fails as RS now come in. Shaq just sitting quietly from the Good Boys squad, just lets them roll past.
Delay going to jump in their cars and get their rotation happening as well.
They've got a long way to go too.
They do indeed. Going to get a move on here. Leaving those 2 solo players alone, one from AG, one from Ghost left behind, and they might just end up in an awkward 1v1. Shaq drops a player on RS, but his position known now. He is the only one left on that team, but yet to go down. SNG and BTLK will exchange a couple of players, and Zatna's actually going to get run down by one of those Delay cars on the rotate. There goes Good Boys. Shaq is taken down as well.
RIP Good Boys as we move into the finals circles of the zone. 8 teams remaining. RS and AQA in good positions, but Nova Monster going down again. They haven't been on the scoreboard too much so far. Still have 3 players remaining. They're going to need to play well in this late game because they haven't got many resources to work with at all. The shield, the armor, it's broken.
Ooh.
The nades are out as they get pushed by Delay.
They spot a few players coming in below them, but now everyone is fighting everyone. The majority of the circle has won to everyone else at this point.
Oh, Spam through smokes manages to catch him.
And gets the same in return. The smoke's providing almost the only cover at this point. So many teams. Big spray down from Aimlocker. Not able to get the confirms, but multiple knocks come through, and he's looking to move up and try and finish this team off by himself here. Knocks another player down. Not quite though. Splits his aim between 2 targets, unable to find it. Unfortunately, a near thing for WatchMyGp. That could have been an elimination for them, but they'll recover it, and they should get all 4 players back up here. 21 left, 7 teams remain. That's a big save for WatchMyGp.
WatchMyGp now entering the late games, where we haven't seen them so far.
Oh, that circle.
The circle is pretty rough. AQA still in a decent position. They can come down off this high ground. SNG, they're the only team in the circle. Can they keep it though? Getting into those compounds, if it starts rotating away from the compounds into the center of the courtyard, they're gonna struggle to get out of there alive.
It's gonna be real rough. Speaking of rough, do you not have ammo there?
No, I think he might have run out or might have chosen not to take the shot and goes and loots that dead body, so we certainly have ammo now.
It certainly sounded like the click of an empty gun barrel.
We still have a few teams with 4 players remaining. I would count 3 of them at least. So that's good going into these final circles. There's one player does get knocked out from the side of WatchMyGp. WatchMyGp, yeah.
Car drives across, provides some cover. RS players getting spammed now, Godless. Don't run your teammate over.
Mate.
Good. Good. I was mildly concerned, but now they've got these cars in place, they can use them for cover. There's an airdrop down in between these two teams as well, so if they can just get rid of this last remaining RS player, the potential for that free level 3
And RS are dropping very quickly too. That's 2 players knocked out and they're gone.
They're gone, they're out of here. So we've got 2 teams with 4 players up. ARUAQ. Should we just sound it out or talk about it later? ARUAQ. SNG also with 4 up. Actually, it's 3. WatchMyGp. They've got the res through as well. They didn't have 3, but they've got a res. So 3 teams with 4 alive. 12 out of the 17 players are 3 teams. And WatchMyGp now just going to jump in their cars and maneuver to stay inside this zone. The later zones do substantially more damage, so you don't want to get stuck.
WatchMyGp might be in trouble here as they are rotating through. They're taking a lot of damage. One of their players has to med up in the zone. Don't know if he's going to be able to get inside. Still a while for him to go. As we see the zone centering in on the courtyard now. RS getting their last players knocked out. As we see that play go down to the zone. He didn't make it inside.
There go Royale squad out in 6th position, not able to do anything. That airdrop also unable to be claimed as they went in there, so this last circle, pretty tough for all of these teams. It's centered around just one of these buildings and it's the most open of the 3. AQ though, just going to fight some spray through. That should be the confirm as well.
They do get the confirm and they've got a lot of kills this game too so far. A lot of damage done. Interesting to see the statistic on that.
6 kills for them so far.
So if they can clean up the rest of the lobby, they're in for a good one. There's still 12 players alive.
Grenades coming in from Delay. 2 players left for them, stuck over on the eastern side.
SNG still have that building. They can play around the walls of that building. They're probably in the prime position to win this game if they can just keep their players alive and play slowly. Let teams trade out on each other.
That zone though going to be moving in 30 seconds from now, and that's going to force some people to move. AQ there, because I'm not going to try that. 5 kills for him.
He's been on fire today. Delay still have decent position on the edge of the circle, the north. I don't think they've been spotted, so again, we might have a few snakes in the grass here as AQ are pushing around the side. They see this smoke. It's suspicious smoke, isn't it? We want to check that. Gonna get caught up. See some nades going out, clearing some angles from AQ. They have a feeling that players are around here, and they're not wrong. One of the SNG players just hiding behind this crate. It hasn't been flushed out either. So he will get all this information from these footsteps. And if AQ do decide to breach, he can come in from the side and play spoiler. He's moving now, so maybe AQ are onto him. And they are! Just escape back in.
Only just though, and there we go, he's down. That's going to be Ghost Esports bowing out of this one in 5th. Somehow. No idea how R6 surviving that. He has no business getting away from that many bullets, but he will. Still though, Hero WatchMyGp with 4 players up, 4 teams and 10 players remaining. They are therefore the only team who can have 4 players up. We'll do the maths on that one.
Certainly. They can be... They're in a good position. They're just waiting. Again, this is just like the late game circle, the very last circles. You're kind of waiting to see who runs out into the open first, who loses their nerve at the moment.
That circle is going very central. That's going to force pretty much everyone to move.
Straight into the courtyard. These WatchMyGp players are going to have to run it straight out into the open, into the loving arms of AQ's gunfire. SNG just sitting in the building still. They don't want to leave.
10 seconds till this zone starts to move. It's about to get ugly. A lot of these players have, well, once they get forced out of where they are now, no cover, and the zone is about to make them move. This is going to be rough indeed as the blue zone moves on in.
That blue dumpster's looking awfully tasty for this WatchMyGp player, and he is going to try push towards it.
He actually might even go all the way through this building here.
If he goes into the building, SNG is sitting on the high ground there, just waiting for anyone to try challenge them.
WatchMyGp in with a good spot at this point. Still 4 players up. The only team with 4 players up. Delay going down in the zone out there. But Godless, his back is entirely exposed to this Delay player peaks.
I don't think Delay player is even going to try it. He's just kind of healing up in the zone, trying to wait out and trying to get as many points as he can. He's taking a lot of damage.
I'm not sure he'll be able to out-heal the zone at this point. No, there we go. He has peeked out. He's got 1 kill. He knocks 2. I don't think they'll be confirmed, but that is a crucial period of weakness for WatchMyGp.
And AQ are moving in too, but but SNG is sitting on the high ground, and they know that AQ are in the building now. AQ is stuck in a rock and a hard place. If there's one nade here, it could take out 3 players. But it is AQ throwing the nades. They won't have the smokes to try and get themselves across.
It's going to be very risky indeed. The nade goes up high. It's cooked for a long time, and if there had been anyone up there, it would have been a perfect dunk, but the rest of SNG have fallen back for now, and looks like WatchMyGp now want to contest this building too. Everyone's going to be in here.
AQ found themselves in a horrible position where they do have a crossfire on them from WatchMyGp and SNG. The nade goes out. This looks good, and it does. It gets the knock.
That's the second time this player from WatchMyGp has gone down. They're having to use a lot of time to get him up, and they need to get him up as well. They need this 4-player squad going into this final thing so they can have the advantage. Final circle, I should say. It's
very cute from AQ, opening the door the opposite way just to give himself that little extra bit of cover. It's just the little things that make the difference in these very end circles.
They got the cross as well, so they'll be able to get that res unless they throw a grenade out there on the side of AQ. Looking for the peak, waiting to see if they'll contest through the zone, but nothing happening just yet. Said the zone is so small. SNG managing to get themselves a couple of kills here. They got 1 onto each team that's remaining. 1 knock. That's going to force some resources and some time out. Time which these teams don't have. They've got to go for these reses. And SNG, they're at the man disadvantage, but the high ground might be good for them here.
They've got 11 kills so far too, so they're just racking up the points. This has been a great game for them. 3 teams remain. WatchMyGp.
So consistent.
They are so consistent. They've had a fantastic day one. They'll be
second, third, and worst case third.
They'll be thrilled with their result.
Plus 11 kills as well. They're already looking at a, 25-point game? No, a little less than that.
22 at the moment.
22-point game.
21 at the moment, should say.
I was going to say 21, but I won't do 22. Either way, 21 points minimum for them this game. Sure, they might have the player disadvantage, but they've got good positioning, and they're waiting on these other teams to make the move. They essentially want to see if these 2 teams remaining will fight each other instead, as they do have more manpower.
And AQ are going to be the first team to move. They have to move. They have to get out of this room somehow, and they're going straight down a corridor, so they could get sprayed down so easily by these SNG players.
It looks like SNG didn't even want to fight it. They're hoping that WatchMyGp will do the job for them.
Well, that's one way to get around it. So this zone just slowly encroaches in the last few seconds.
If it goes
as a nade
out,
comes in, it's the Molotov. Cuts off a bit more of the high ground.
If this zone goes outside this building through the wall, I'm not sure it can, but that would be so rough.
I think SNG are sitting on about where the center should be of this zone.
They should be sitting pretty. The only problem they've got to deal with is these 4-man teams who stand against them.
He's going to be on an angle where he could get headshot very easily if he pokes his head up. So if the AQ players are onto it, the zone starts pushing into now. The spray comes in, he gets 1. He's looking for the finish on it. The second drops to the WatchMyGp player, but now the zone's moving in. The WatchMyGp player are getting very low into the zone. It's going SNG at the center of the zone. They're trying to get as many kills as they possibly can.
Now everybody is inside this zone. It's just the health coming in the play zone, finding itself so many kills here. I'm not even sure anyone else can get kills.
Be the MVP. WatchMyGp are
going to get it because they've got the heals to survive this. They're going to out-heal everyone else. This should be the win for them.
This should be the win for them. The SNG player has gone down. It's only 2 people alive at the moment.
They're both just healing.
They're both just medding off at them. And this is the last med kit.
Oh my goodness.
I think the SNG player might just have it.
I think Bloody's going to have it just on the heals. The zone is everywhere now. I think he's got it. I don't think there's any more heals. Is he going to try and make the play?
Here's the last tick goes out and he does win it.
Goodness
me. What a way to end that Miramar, going down to 0 circle remaining, and it is a big win from SNG. They got a first, they got a second, and now they got a third.
And look at all those kills as well.
There's 12 killed chicken dinner.
12 kills in your chicken dinner. It's a pretty delicious chicken dinner. 20 points for the win, 32 in total with those 12 kills. A first, a second, and a third. Well, second, third, first in the order that they got them. But amazing consistency from them in the first 3 games. That should easily be them comfortably on top of the leaderboard.
Oh, you'd have to imagine nobody can touch them. Obviously, they didn't get the biggest win of the day. That still goes to AsiaGaming, but
still
SNG...
12 kills is respectable.
Yeah, 12 kills is definitely respectable. That's about what you want to be getting for your chicken dinners, about 10 to 12 kills. Anywhere between 8 to 12, I'd say, is probably where you want. This was that beautiful 1v3 by the GoodBoy player.
Knocks out an entire team by himself. His teammates were nowhere to be found. They were quite a way away while that whole engagement was going on. So
certainly were.
Good amount of kill points should be coming through for the GoodBoys here, but it's SNG who are our highlight of the day so far. They've done so well A second to start the day when they just got swarmed by AsiaGaming, who were pretty much unstoppable on their way to a 37-point chicken dinner, but getting a third in Game 2 and a first in Game 3. That's amazing consistency from them, and all three of them were decent killing performances.
Yeah, they did get decent kills across all three of those games, so they're going to be sitting very high on the leaderboard. They're going to be very pleased with their first day, but it isn't finished yet. We've still got one more map to play.
We do indeed. We go back to Erangel one more time.
AsiaGaming probably very happy that we're going back there.
Yeah, they need a bit of a chance at redemption. I didn't see where they went out. I can't remember where they went out in that game, but from 1st to 15th in game number 2, they're going to be looking for some redemption when we head back to Erangel once again. And for SNG, I mean, job done. Job easily done. You've got all 3 podium positions in 3 games. I mean, I think they're playing well enough. Their consistency is going to keep them towards that top 3, top 5. But even if it doesn't, they've certainly done enough here. A 32-point chicken dinner is something you're very happy with.
Certainly. They'll want to keep these high performances up, keep the consistency, because it's easy to drop off. If you start dropping off, as we see AsiaGaming getting that 15th game, and now they were about the middle of the pack last game, you want to keep consistent. You want to keep placing high. You don't want to give yourself any work to do at the back end of the round.
And that's the thing as well. You've got to be thinking long-term for this sort of tournament, because there's so many games to go. We've only got 1 game left for the wildcard region tonight, but 21 games left in total for the whole stage or the whole set at this point. And there's a lot to do. Sure, you have 3 really good games to start yourself off, but you're on day 1. It's way too soon to even be thinking of starting coasting. You want to keep this momentum up for as long as you can in case you start having rough games down the track.
Yeah, certainly you want to. You want to keep the foot down. See if you can set new records. Have some fun with it. You know, try to go for lots and lots of kills. You can't afford to relax because there's a lot of good competition in this tournament.
There absolutely is. I mean, we've seen a bit of it already. We've seen some consistent performances from a couple of teams. We've seen a fair few teams who've been getting a lot of kills, or a decent amount of kills, and not able to convert it into placings yet. Looking at like 404, John Wick at least has been a consistent contender for them. The GoodBoys players have been having some pretty good moments in and out of games. Even though they haven't really converted them to solid placings just yet, they're still being able to find consistent damage. So if they can start turning that into placings down the road, then the points are going to start rolling in for them. But of course, the highlight of our first 3 games, SNG Club coming out with, I don't even know how many points it will be now. We'll have to check on that one in a little bit, but certainly playing very well indeed to start us off. And then, I mean, we move back into Erangel now. Are you thinking AsiaGaming come back on top, or are you giving it to SNG based on consistency?
I think SNG is just a bit more consistent. Maybe AsiaGaming got a little bit lucky with the way the circle played out in that Erangel game. They had not a lot of teams fighting them. They were able to third-party a lot of those engagements. As we see WatchMyGp getting a nice 6 kills with theirs, and we see Delay with 11 kills. So this was a pretty high-killing game for that top 4 teams. All of them above 5.
AsiaGaming coming in 5th there is a nice bit of redemption for them. But of course, the story here is SNG Club. 12 kills, 20 points for the chicken dinner. That's 3 very good games for them to start us off. And your boys over on Nova Monster, they've performed a little bit better. They've got themselves 7th, 4 kills as well for 8 points total. Things looking up a little bit from the rough start to the first couple games that they had.
Yeah, certainly was a rough start, as we see 404 going out with no kills, which is the first time we've seen that happen. GoodBoys, despite that 3v1 the player had, nothing else for them. So they'll be disappointed with that. S7 had a good game last game, or the previous game on Sanhok, but didn't manage to back it up. And of course the Australian team, no mercy, getting knocked out in last place.
And having a look overall at the total scoreboard after 3 games, SNG, ROYALE Squad and AsiaGaming all with a chicken dinner apiece, but a huge lead for SNG Club now, 68 points to the 50 of ROYALE Squad. A 2nd place, a 3rd place and a chicken dinner as well. 24 kills across their games. They're going to be pretty happy with that. They put themselves a long way above 2nd place, and below that it's quite competitive.
I think that the surprise there is DelayNoMore. They've been a quiet achiever going in on 4th place. They're not too far behind the pack. You see the bottom of the board at the moment. We've got teams like Deadly Squad, Headshot, FBI. They're all so close to each other that one good game from them can shoot them up the rankings.
Exactly. I mean, looking at the spread from between 16th and 9th is what, 13 points? 14 points. That's a 2nd place with no kills. So there's a lot that could change in the bottom of the table. And of course, it's very early days. We don't want to think about the bottom table too much, but that is where you don't want to be, of course. And the kills leaderboard, nothing really too unexpected here. SNG dominating things, 1st and 5th in the kill leaders, 9 kills and 7 for Kristava and Bleak Snake respectively. They're going to be pretty happy with that one, and it just speaks to how well they played in that particular game.
Yeah, we had two players from AG, 2 players from SNG on that board. That's where you want to be as well. You want to have that little bit of personal pride on getting on that kill leaders board. It always feels good to be up there.
Absolutely does, and I think that pretty much summarizes how that game went for SMG. If you've got 2 players who are fragging out, if you're getting 16 kills between
Two
two
players,
players,
yeah.
you're doing pretty good. You're pretty cheering with that one.
Yeah, you certainly
Cheering.
are. I can't wait to see how they go throughout the whole tournament, though. Can they keep up this pace for, day one pace? It's blistering, but I don't want to see them fall off. I want to see them keep going and, set some points records, too. They could be finishing these days with 100 points each.
They could indeed, but I mean, there's a lot yet to be played for that. For now, the only thing we can really determine right now, Smash, is how they play in game number 4. And for that, we're going to go to a short break. So game number 4, we'll see if SNG can keep it up right after this.
Your game, Vivo V15 Series, Vivo.
Welcome back. I am Smash, joined by Brainstorm. We're at the PMCO full split group stages for the wildcard at the moment, brought to you by Vivo. And what a day we've seen. And if you want to be playing like the pros, you need the Vivo 15, because that phone chops.
Vivo 15 Pro. It's even got Pro in the name if you want to be a pro.
It's the best. It's more immersive, more powerful, and it will bring you the glorious chicken dinner. And if you want to download PUBG Mobile too, you get to hit it up on the App Store or the Google Play.
Depending on which platform you play on. If you want to be like SNG, who are our team who've been really fragging out recently, then you might want yourself a Vivo V15 Pro. They've got themselves second in game 1, third in game 2, chicken dinner, and 12 kills in game number 3. So
certainly,
there you go. If you want to aspire to those lofty heights, I'm not going to do that because I suck. But if you're a better gamer than I am, which is not difficult, grab yourself a Vivo 15 Pro, download PUBG Mobile, and away you go.
Yeah, I think that's been the story of the day, though. SNG Club, they have been dominating. Getting higher placings in PUBG tournaments with this caliber is very difficult. These players are all so very good, but they've managed to read the rotations well, find themselves in these end game positions, and make the correct decisions most of the time. It was only really when they were unfortunately flanked, or unfortunately, 2v1'd or had a third-party engagement is when they went down. I think both times they went down in the first 2 games, it was third-party engagements, correct?
Yeah, I mean, the first time they went down to AsiaGaming, they went out in second place, but that was because they helped AsiaGaming demolish Delay and then just got 4v2'd. Like, you're not going to... There's not really too much you can do when the zone is directly on your head. So they've had themselves a pretty good evening, but we go back to Erangel for our final game of the night. No Vikendi just yet, and this is the game that AsiaGaming had such a hot start to the tournament on. 37 points in total, 17 kills, 20 for the chicken dinner as we watch the plane coming in. It's a very northern plane line heading east to west, starting directly above Georgia Pop.
It is, and we'll go straight over the top of Rozhok, over Mansion, and Lipovka will end it. So I don't know, getting to the military base might be a bit difficult here for those teams that did stay in the military base for a little bit too long last time, you'd say. It was a late rotation.
That said, we have seen several teams who have been ready to take these really, really long rotations willingly for better loot. We had FBI hanging out on the very western side of the map for a long time last game. We've had other teams who, I think it might have been SNG game 1, who were chilling out in the military base by themselves.
No, it was 404. Also, they killed that squad just south of Pachinki, and then they moved to the Novo for a long time, sat in the blue. So teams aren't afraid of sitting in the blue just for that little bit of extra loot that they can achieve.
So far we've got No Mercy, the Australian boys, heading up to Zaki, all on their own, so it's free loot for them. AsiaGaming and SNG also jumping out very, very early, with the rest of the lobby getting out over the middle of the map. WatchMyGp heading towards Pachinki and potentially uncontested for now.
We did have Nova Monster drop around Zaki before as well, so obviously they've given that up and they've chosen a new location to drop. Maybe threatened by No Mercy, or maybe they've just decided there's better places to be.
I mean, No Mercy would have been first out of the plane, so it's taking a claim on that very, very early on. So watch looting commence here. That first circle is very northern, which favours about half of the lobby. It would have been much more awkward if it was a military base sort of circle with how northern the plane line was.
Yeah, certainly. I think this is going to be a pretty quiet circle to start off with, as we see shots do run out, and
Delay, I believe, just lost one.
We've already got one team knocked out. Nova starting off on the right foot.
That's a better start for your boys. They found themselves first blood.
It's important first blood too. You want to end the day on a high note going into the next day.
Oh, Bay is very isolated from his teammates. No weapons to his name either. Just
a very silly
onesie
helmet.
And a very silly helmet. Exactly that. But look, style points are very important. John Wick getting involved once again.
This is his
team is going to need a higher placement, I think, 404. They've had themselves some decent killing games, but not yet found too much in the placement side of things. They'll be looking for more, but nonetheless, starting off the right way.
It's not going to be able to confirm that kill just yet as they get spammed. It's all happening in this
404, stuck on the edge of this cliff with one player from the Delay Squad behind. I mean, Deadly Squad behind them. It's a very long range for that SMG. It seems
404 look like they're getting the best of this though. John Wick's got the confirmed kill, and it looks like they're all going. Yeah,
that's Dodgy down, I believe. Is that Dodgy or is it Deadly Squad?
No, Deadly Squad. Yeah, Deadly Squad already knocked out again. 404 finding a squad in the first 3 minutes of Erangel.
Now they'll just need to persist longer into this game and not go down quite as fast. But once again on Erangel, 2 games, 2 squad wipes in the first couple of minutes. It's a pretty good start for them again. Now they just need to look at finishing up on some looting and
Well,
they're very central right now, but they could also look to grab a vehicle.
Yeah, they have got a nice town in Roshok. It's quite a high density loot area. And it's no real threat immediate to them, so surely they have a better placing in this game.
You'd want to think so. Opposite sides of the town occupied by Nova Monster and Headshot. Decent amount of space and a lot of buildings between them, so both teams free to loot for now.
Despite the popular saying, this town is big enough for the two of them. There's a lot of loot to go around
The
there.
8 of them, really.
I mean, the 8 of them, yeah. But
This town ain't big enough for 8 of us. Doesn't quite have the same ring, does it?
No, it doesn't quite. But this town is big enough. But they will probably take pot shots at each other as they spot each other from the high windows. Looks like Nova are actually going in a risky situation here.
I thought they were going to commit straight into the crash there, but looks like they will just decide to get out of dodge. And HS Headshot, they're seeing it, but they're hearing it at least, but not going to be able to put shots on just about. Looks like
just letting that one go
will
through.
get away with it.
Yeah, all piled up in one car. Just letting that one go through the keeper, I reckon. Just letting them pass. As we see the live standings, SNG Club dominating.
Oh my goodness, yeah, 18 points ahead of ROYALE squad. AsiaGaming, bear in mind, they had a 15th place in Game 2. That's how good their Game 1 was. It's carried them through.
Oh, Deadly Babe might have found himself in a situation.
Nope, they've decided not to engage, or I haven't spotted him either way, but Nova Monster here just going to go for the crash. 3 players out, not even a crash, except for a drive-by, really.
I think he wanted I think Babe wanted this compound too, so it's probably going to run all the way up and find out it's been taken by the squad of Nova Monster.
Said, looking at Kai here alone. Oh, he's got 2 players in the car, actually. So split their squad in 2. 2 players looting inside this compound and 2 stay in the car to go scout, see what else they can find out. Bay from Delays is probably going to need to keep going here. He's already given up on this compound if this was indeed the way he was coming. Headed back down the hill and elsewhere. And that leaves Nova Monster with free looting here to grab what they can.
Yeah, it's quite curious the fact that they send a player without a car to go try and grab that compound or try and crash it. So he's lucky he's walked away with his life there. It was quite easy for Nova Monster to pull up on him. And as we see the rest of his squad taking some shots now, and that will be one player from BTLK going down. Good boy. Already getting involved early on in the game.
Vehicle spotted out as well. Not quite going to be able to do too much to it before it goes behind the building, but Ananas wants to come back and fight this one. And Zadnar, he's had some big performances in the past couple of maps for himself, but needs to do more here. He's a little bit cut off from his team. That said, he's going to play the 3rd person.
Oh, he spotted the car too.
Yeah, he knows that this player is around here somewhere. Ananas might just end up coming back in and giving it to him. This could be perfect. No, he's going to go inside instead, but actually no. Does go wide, and Ananas almost runs into that.
Some more nades go out as BTLK are answering back onto the side of Good Boy. This fight has now ended up 3v3. It's BTLK getting the better of the engagement at the moment. Good Boy forced into these 2 players now, encroaching on this house.
Said Ananas is on his own in here, and he's going to try and make the play almost able to get the kill onto Rich, but not quite. And Good Boys are now outgunned as the remaining members of BTLK rotate over. Oh my goodness, so close to each other. 2v1 for Rich. He's spraying away, but he's not going to be able to find anything. His teammate is helping out. In goes Ananas, trying to confirm these knockoffs. Somehow goes down himself. The trade does come out, pardon me, but it's still a lot of damage done. BTLK and Good Boys still right on top of each other, and Good Boys still getting the knocks.
So 1 player for each team, or 2 players for Good Boys?
2, I believe. Good Boys still have 2 up, and they've knocked 2 down.
BTLK are now in a situation. This is the last player. He's on so low health too. 1 more bullet will be it, and that will be the squad.
That's BTLK
going down.
out.
BTLK go down to Good Boy. How many res is going to get there? So we see more fighting going on. Nova Monster.
Try and get rid of this one Nova Monster player.
Sprays coming in from the Nova Monster players that have just pulled up. Nova Monster are getting the better of this engagement. Another squad goes down so early. Delay.
Out in 13th.
Already out.
Or 14th, I should say.
Nova Monster managed to keep all of their players alive too. So let's secure themselves 4 kills.
It's a very big engagement for them. Worth noting as well, Ghost Esports did go from how northern this plane line was. They went all the way down to the military base to loot. And now that the circle's moved past them, they're going to have to rotate up out of there again. But they will be coming in behind everybody else, unless the Good Boys are even slower coming over from Mill to Power.
I don't think the Good Boys will want to be too slow. They'll probably get a wriggle on now, but that side of Ghost Esports rotating all the way from Nova is going to be a big trek. And especially because there's so many teams on this southeast side just crouching in. Teams like S7, teams like AQ, they're still there, and they're strong teams. See an engagement maybe breaking out now between FBI. You can hear the cars moving across the hill.
Plane going overhead as well, so Crate soon in play, and S7, their car's just going to get away, not able to be fired on by the FBI members here. Skydo not looking, or not finding it, despite searching.
Crate's going to drop in the middle of pretty much everyone. S7 are going to drive straight past. It'll be interesting to see if they stop for that.
They can. Of course, unknown to them, but there is no pressure on them right now, so looks like they do indeed just go straight past us. They're going to leave that Crate there. Where are they going back now?
Yeah,
I'm baited, they're going back.
There's a lot of cover around that area that you can play in as well, lots of hills and ridges, so they're not exactly out in the middle of the open as we see the Ghost guys rolling in. Please do not crash your bike.
Don't do it.
Looks like he's got the controller
I know
down.
backflips are cool, but not right now.
Oh, no, I'd salute a backflip.
Ah, that's it.
Whoa.
Fraction close, but Ghost Esports out here just playing PUBG Driving Simulator.
Threading the needle, in fact.
Man's played a lot of driving games at this time. Health situation starting to be a little bit of a concern for these Ghost guys. They'll need to pull over once they get back inside this zone, which will happen momentarily, and take some time to heal up, but they'll make it back in, and the looting that they've been able to do should make up for that, as S7 going to grab the Crate. Let's see what Mario's got from it.
All those level 3s. He's got an AUG as well, so that gun is very powerful at spraying down. It's like a laser pointer almost.
Level 3, every piece of armor, level 3 backpack, and the AUG as well. Gonna be feeling pretty good about getting that one essentially for free, S7. No one contesting it at all. That gives them a decent amount of range firepower as well.
Certainly will, as teams start to converge on the center of the circle. It is going towards Georgia Pole on the west side, shooting range on the north. It's kind of in the middle of those two. Ruins could be in play here too. That's a very fun place to end a map. So we see the rotates with the music on, playing some tunes.
Love that. If you're going to drive in a car, you've got to have tunes going. It's the rule.
So we see the Ghost guys actually crossing straight past the FBI guys. Maybe some shots might ring out here. It's a very dangerous point because GoodBoys still in the blue rotating in as well, and they should go straight past FBI too.
AQ potentially about to run right into AsiaGaming here if they continue to push on, but looks like they've stopped for now. Tunes continue to blare out as we move down here. Ghost have found themselves a couple of hits onto the FBI players, and it's just the two of them left. Actually, looks like a vehicle with two players has made it away, but Boyka's still here. Oh, never mind. He's out as well. The map was deceiving. So FBI claim for themselves these houses and a bike and some loot.
Oh,
potentially.
Play getting picked off there and gets finished out from Ghost Esports. John
Wick again.
In the kill feed.
I'd love to see how many kills he's actually going to end up with overall. It feels like he's been good for at least, for an average of 2 or 3 a map.
Yeah, my count is he's got at least 6 on Erangel alone. He got 1 on Sanhok, I know that much. So he'd be sitting up there. He'd be close into that kill leaderboard.
You'd think so.
We'll see after this game.
Risky stunt driving.
The buggy, he can't roll those, mate. They're invincible almost.
He's going to roll it now. You cursed him. Caster's curse, mate.
No, look at him.
Caster's curse. You're familiar with the term, I assume.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, good. Just don't do it. Watch it. It's okay. Never
Yeah,
mind.
he's fine.
You're right. I wanted to see if I could actually cast his curse in, but nah, he's good. S7 with the AUG in hand, the level 3 equipment on a couple of their players. Going to take for themselves the compound
he's
there.
got 3 kills, John Wick. 3 of the team's 5. So just help him out, boys. Go with him as they find the yellows, and they'll... This is a decent position too. If the circle moves towards ruins like a hard south shift, obviously it's got to move away from water eventually. There's still lots of water in play with that river, so it's either going to go north or south. If it goes south of the river, 404 are in a really good position.
Just depends on how long they want to sit here. They might just loot this and move on. We'll see what exactly they're feeling. Looks like they're already getting back into vehicles, but we'll see. Meanwhile...
They're waiting for the circle to pop. It's about to pop now.
There you go. Oh, and it shifts central and south. So that's actually a pretty good circle for them. They are just about on the edge.
Last Erangel game, we saw Everest in play, the big mountain, but nobody chose to take it. Nobody chose to take the position. And again, as we see in this game, Everest in play, nobody's choosing to take the position up there. It can be good to spot the teams out. It's a bit more difficult to get the kills on there just because there is a lot of ways to hide under ridges, but still interesting no one has chosen to take that high ground. I suppose getting off it could be a bit difficult.
WatchMyGp are patrolling the river crossings.
They've got the key position right now. They can see anyone trying to get from the north side of the river to the south side of the river.
And they can control that, essentially. So they're cutting off... Of course, they've got half the lobby rotating their way, but they can cut off the rotations of a lot of people, or at the very least mess with them.
Can.
If they even delay the first team to get here, then all the other teams will arrive at a very similar time, and it's on.
Headshot look like they'll be the first team to run into him, but at the moment we have the fighting between Ghost and FBI continuing on. Those teams are outside the zone, but they're just trying to get it. And it looks like Ghost is actually getting the better of that trade. Very good kills coming from them as Nova Monster go on to RS. That's an engagement on the north side of the river, so WMPG will be waiting for the scraps of that one. As Nova Monster do push up and they'll try and
might just grab
push
some
that.
kills here.
Looks like
Two players rotate down hard. Spray down, double confirm here. 2 players down for RS, nothing they can do. Their cards should get away to freedom, but still unfortunate for them, and never mind. That's no spray down now. RS still under a lot of fire here too. Sacrificed 2 players and still not in a good position.
And they're still under fire, and they're just kind of, unfortunately, the circle shifted away from where they wanted it to be, so they're in a rough trot. They need to go all the way around. Maybe South George is the way in for them. Maybe they should be the Everest team, but of course they don't know that, as we do have a good third of the map being unused at the moment. As the fight between FBI and Ghost has subsided for the moment, only one FBI player remaining. He's probably just going to look to get some tanking points here. Just get as far in as he can. Ghost could be fighting going on very soon as Nova Monster have on the prowl. They're looking for these kills. They know it's going to be hard to rotate into the next zone, so they're probably looking to get as many kills as they can at the moment. And they've definitely had a better end of the day than they did at the start.
Certainly have. It was a pretty rough beginning to the fall split for them, but recovering nicely so far. FBI's last player, Boyka, is rotating straight into 404, so that should be a pretty easy cleanup for them once he gets that little bit closer. Ghost, relatively close as well, and we've somehow avoided a big fight in the center of the map, even though it looked like there was so many teams heading in that way. Amlock is going to pop a couple tires as well, just to make things a little bit more difficult.
And it does center onto Ruins for the next circle, so all those teams on that north side have to move. S7 and AQ, they are dreaming. They've hit the high roll for sure.
All those teams on the north side have quite a way to go, and crucially, at least some of them are still going to have to go past WatchMyGp if those boys choose to sit and patrol this bridge. There is still the western bridge open, but there's 2 teams fighting over that. So WatchMyGp might have some pretty big things to say about the outcome of this game if they end up with 2 teams trying to rotate through them.
AG are in a decent position too to catch any rotations that come past WatchMyGp. They'll get the scraps of what WatchMyGp don't finish up. And they've had a very quiet game so far.
They'll also be able to pick up that western bridge. It's only SNG who look like going for that right now. Maybe No Mercy as well, but it looks like no one's really going for the bridges at the minute. Headshot are on the move, and Nova Monster have timed this to perfection coming in for the backstab. Never mind, they're actually among their convoy. Just crossed through them.
Yeah, all the teams just prioritizing getting across here. Nova Monster actually rotating very far out. They might be trying to go all the way around. They've given up on the bridge. WatchMyGp, despite the spray down, they haven't been able to find any kills.
It's unfortunate for them. They had such a good position, and now, once all the teams past there, never mind, they've been gifted one. Fury hangs around for just a little bit too long there. That'll be a free confirm. Teammates... Not his teammates, actually. It's No Mercy coming in very, very late indeed. And once again, the bridge
is going to be a rough
lockdown should be coming through here from...
Oh, he manages to just get through the next clip into the chamber. Oh, I think
Very
he's alright.
surprised. Shredded, but somehow still in it. And now the problem for WatchMyGp is everyone's rotated through them, and now they're coming in late.
Yeah, they really had the golden opportunity there to get as many kills as possible. They only got 2 onto the squad of Headshot, who have managed to rotate in safely. We have a lot of teams that are actually rotated across Everest, as we see the last player, or a player going down to the zone late. Nova Monster player, actually. Yeah, Nova Monster, they chose to run around the side, go into the blue, and try and approach from a different angle, but
I mean,
Playzone's managing them.
Look how far out they are.
It looks like it's only Aimlocker that's really close enough to get in, and No Mercy getting cleaned up now as they tried to crash in and they didn't find a place that was empty. They managed to find themselves in the crosshairs of the enemy. Another knock for Nova Monster.
No, that's... I think that was the same one.
Yeah, no, but with all the players are going down, that's like 2 players that have been knocked out by the players by Nova Monster.
Yeah, this rotation is a little bit ambitious for them. They've gone an awfully long way out. It's not really paid off for them here on Erangel. Still got 1 player stuck in the blue trying to rotate in. I'm not sure it's going to go too well.
The last player from IRS does get knocked out, so they'll be going down into 13th place, I believe.
There goes the last player for Nova Monster. They go for such a big...
Aimlock is still...
Aimlock is still there. They went for a 4-player rotation through the blue and dropped 3 to the zone.
Not ideal. It doesn't get engaged for the first time this game. And they already lose 1, so our current leaders down to 3 players.
That said, Aimlocker goes down. That
yeah,
will be Nova Monster out. 3 players lost to the zone is not a great look, but if they got the timing on that flank, nobody would have seen that coming.
No, it was a very ambitious play, as you said, as the circle... That is a big shift toward out of ruins towards the western side, right on top of Good Boy. SNG are still in the mixture as well.
Headshot not too far away either. Good Boys do have the compound for themselves, but there's about to be a lot of heat coming their way. For now, at least, they do have the cover, the position. See how many kills they're able to convert out of it. Rich. Dangerous to run outside there, exposed to multiple angles, but it'll go unpunished for now.
You'd have to say Good Boys are in a good position here, but there's a lot of angles they can get shot from, and they are choosing to pressure SNG at the moment. Make sure they find out where they are at all times. They don't want to lose track of them. As we see grenades coming out, and that is 404 again getting into a fight with Ghost. So Ghost send a player to see who was there, and he ends up wearing a face full of bullets.
Well, not a good fashion choice, if I'm honest. Face full of bullets, wouldn't recommend it.
No, 404 are now rotating in, and they could be one of the sleeper picks for this map. I think they're going to find a lot of solo players right now, and that will boost their kill rating and they'll boost their placements.
But still, improbably, Boyka is yet to go down. The last player from FBI. Ghost lose 1 to the zone as well. The zone is probably the kill leader at this point on this map. Thanks in no small part to Nova Monster there. Good Boys now starting to get it done, knocking out headshot. WatchMyGp combining with that. Big spray downs coming in from S7, but they're 2 getting returned fire on. Very chaotic here. Gunfight between 3 teams at once, and S7. Mario so close here. Surely unable to convert this one. 2 players right in front of him, and yet to do any significant damage. That said, he is being helped out by fire from afar. He's got a lot of time to try and work this one out. The HP pretty much even, but still a 1 versus 2, and now the grenades are going to start to come in as well.
He's trying to think his way through this one. The grenade's getting trickled over the top. He gets back up from a teammate. They're going to try and pick up wicket, but so low. The AK-47 spray isn't enough. There's 1 player down on the side of Ghost. With a second follow. God, it's a spray into the smoke. It's a mess, but they do go down. S7 end up winning the fight on the edge of ruins, and that's going to allow an easy rotation in now because there's nobody in front of them for quite a while.
And there goes Ghost in 10th. Boyka, the last remaining player from FBI, managed to scrap himself a frag as well. And another one there, the knock onto Save from AQ. Still doing damage while left alone versus everyone else in the server.
He's been a real
some pretty good damage right now, exactly that. One of these teams will surely, maybe even 404, just swoop over and clean up the stragglers. But still, getting these points on the board for his team is nothing but good.
Certainly, as he ends up getting a kill stolen, as AQ getting knocked down by the 404 members. Boyka is so close to 404, but there's still a long way to go for this rotate. They still have to push in so far. As Boyka's finally taken out by the squad of 404, they've put an end to his shenanigans.
And they've put an end to his team as well. 4 players for 404, WatchMyGp, S7 still up as well. Good Boys with 3 to play with. Surfer with a unique position for his car, but he'll be able to reverse that one out and back into the zone.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to try and scale this cliff with this car, and he's just going to get it up there too. So well done, keeping the car intact and staying in the zone. 404 do have an angle on them.
Some long-range shooting as well. And they get some nice synchronized window hopping.
Yeah. It's good. They still have to move a long way, the 404 guys. I hope they don't all pile into one car. It looks like they are going to. All right, they got 2.
Got his own. So they're going to go 3 in 1, so still risky, but at least not all their eggs are in the one basket. That said, they're run straight into S7 on the rotation.
Oh, they're trying for the car kill too. Trying to get the kills on the moving vehicles. God, be careful.
Rescue.
Don't want to get run over by your teammate.
That's an open camp as well there. Yet been recovered. Big spray coming through onto S7. 404 considering that crate, but not in the clear to be able to go get it just yet. Set the kills now starts to come in. John Wick getting involved once again. SNG taking out some F7 players. There goes John Wick a third time. They're cleaning up S7 right now before finally, SNG come through and cleaned that one up. But S7, I believe, are gone now too. AQ taking a lot of damage. Kenny still up for 404. 15 alive, 5 teams remaining. And that crate's still in play, but just outside the circle.
Certainly John Wick gets picked up. 10 kills now for the squad of 404. So if they can finish this with a chicken dinner, there's still 15 alive. This could be a 20 kill game for them.
Would be very good indeed, but a long way to go before that reality comes true. 2 players left. Bloody hiding behind the tree over here for SNG.
We've seen them win from positions, well not win, but we've seen them have good positions when they've only been out the 2 players. The first game of the day on Erangel, they only had 2 players for the longest time, but they managed to make it work. Got themselves second place, so they'll be hoping for a similar result here.
And 404 still with 4 players up as well for themselves. So there's certainly a possibility they can push this into a chicken dinner, but maybe not with risky crashes like this. They will make it in just about, and now they can start to put the hurt onto the good boys here.
There's only 2 good boys left.
There is indeed. The good boys are not as many good boys as there were. Playzone's going to confirm Ganksy as well from No Mercy.
There's only 1 player left for that squad.
Down by WatchMyGp, and they've lost 2 players already. John Wick managed to find a grenade over there. There goes the last player for No Mercy. Actually, there's 1 more, I think, but Playzone grabs another one. Luckily for 404, they just managed to get inside this tiny building and get some revives off, but a very near thing for them indeed, and they've still got 1 more res to find.
WatchMyGp do have to push into John Wick and his boys.
The whole team's down. If they gotten the grenade inside there.
Yeah, definitely, but at this late stage of the game, there's no grenades left. But WatchMyGp, they know they have to push into these squads. So it's quite risky. They just got to wait it out. As we see, Good Boy might have claimed that crate.
Good Boys are going for the crate, yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't got it just yet, but they're certainly right on top of it. And that circle centering around the compound that is currently occupied by SNG and the Good Boys. So it's actually moving away from the other players here that you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. Good Boys want that crate, but they're not able to get it just yet. And here comes WatchMyGp. Charging past 404, the smoke to get a decent cover, but getting knocked out of the cars. This might be it for WatchMyGp. The explosion goes up as well. There should be a few confirms here coming in for 404. As the player count continues to dwindle, Playzone grabs a kill onto Godless as well. WatchMyGp just with 1 left now, and still 4 players alive for 404 Era.
They've been moving through these squads quite clinically. They haven't exposed themselves too much. John Wick on 6 kills for the round. Keep in mind, our kill leader before this game went in was on 8 or 9.
9, I think.
9. So John Wick has been on an absolute tear.
That said, still 404 Era need to not get too keen here. They are still dropping players, and this 4-man advantage, they can still do this. They can get this win across, but those reses are going to be risky, and indeed they won't even get the chance. Fabit's been confirmed, so down to 3 now for 404 Era. They sit on 11 kills currently, but still a lot of work yet to do, and John Wick is not stopping. 404 Era going in at this point. Kenny's going to get knocked. The Good Boys lose 1 as well, and Kenny, I think, will get confirmed there. So 2 players now for 404. Good Boys get charged. And it is indeed, there are 2 remaining players for 404. A lot of work still to do. John Wick out in the open, still taking fights, but a little bit too keen. He's going to get confirmed as well. The biggest fragger from 404 Era now down. 4 alive, 3 teams represented.
It looks like SNG have just bided their time, stayed in the grass, stayed quiet, and it's worked out for us. All the other teams are fighting, taking themselves out, but now the SNG players go down.
Oh my goodness.
Now it's a 1v1.
Rich just wiped the whole team. It's a 1v1 between Good Boys and this 404 player. Rich has turned it around. It was a 2v1v1, but he's going to charge straight on in here. And will he check this corner right in time? But 1v1 is very close. But I believe it's 404 Era. John Wick with a massive game, and 404 will manage to claim it. A 15-kill chicken dinner for them.
A 15-kill chicken dinner, and John Wick claimed 8 of them. That's over half the kills. John Wick is an absolute monster.
I mean, he's been fragging consistently all night, but Erangel is just a dream for him.
It is. Every time he gets on this map, he just takes him out. Another early squad wipe for 404. Really set up the game, set the tempo of the game.
I mean, they got early squad wipes in 3 out of 4 games, right? It was the third game.
It was the
last
third game,
map
yeah.
that they slowed it down a lot more and didn't go for that one. But 3 out of 4 games now, they've started off well with a squad wipe, and this time able to finish it off with a 15-kill chicken dinner.
Yeah, this was Nova Monster getting into some fights early. They managed to stable themselves, get a nice squad wipe early. This is
WatchMyGp. If they could have made this river crossing work, it would have been so good for them. They had that entire eastern bridge locked down, but despite that, all 4 players being able to shell every single car that walked past. Drove past. You normally drive cars, not walk them. But despite the amount of lead they were able to put into their targets, only I think 2 kills from that entire bridge hole, which is pretty unfortunate for them. I think they would have wanted more.
Yeah, I think they were just maybe they weren't targeting the same car as they crossed the bridge. Maybe they were just missing their shots, but they really should have gotten more out of that position.
Yeah, I think so. It's unfortunate for them, but it's 404 Era who are going to grab themselves the chicken dinner for the day. I think they're going to be very happy with that one. They did have, I mean, John Wick's been fragging all day, but they had some pretty consistent killing performances, at least from him. And this time, finally, I mean, it's 8 kills from John Wick, but his team were able to provide the remaining 7 needed for the chicken dinner. Very well played, and it wasn't John Wick who won the 1v1 at the end. He went down.
No.
His teammate who got that across the line.
CD, I believe. He managed to win that 1v1.
So I think they're going to be pretty happy with that.
I was surprised SNG went down to that 1 spray down. That was pretty important.
Yeah,
they go down in
Rich
3rd
on
place.
the GoodBoys. They managed to find the drop on 2.
But that's the story of the day, is SNG finishing top 3 in every single game. In all 4 games, top 3. So they've had an absolute stunning game. It is absurd, and I want to know how long they can keep it up for, because that is a very hard task.
Absolutely it is. I mean, we'll have to have a look when we get to the leaderboard in just a second, see how many kills they actually managed to find in that game.
I think it was a pretty quiet game for them.
I think it was pretty quiet, but still, you're coming through with another top 3 placing. That's just how many they lead. They were already at the start of this game, I think 18 points ahead of second. They should be extending that a little bit now. 404 will be able to move themselves up the time, or up the leaderboard quite substantially with a 35-point game from them.
Still didn't beat
2
AG.
off our highest scoring game of the day. Both on Erangel, 37 points I should say, 17 kill chicken dinner for AG in game 1. Game 4 also on Erangel, a 15 kill chicken dinner for 404 Era. So Erangel our highest scoring maps, and that will move 404 Era up quite a bit. But SNG, the heroes of the day, 4 top 3s, 1 chicken dinner.
Yeah, they've been unstoppable all day. They've been making, but it hasn't been them just mowing down squads too. It's just been intelligent decisions that they've made. They've rotated at the same time, at the right time. They've played off each other well for teamwork, and they've put themselves in the position to play in the late game. And that's really where you want to be, because those kills will come to you in the late game.
Absolutely. It's pretty much, they did what they needed to do. They were staying alive with 4 players for most of those games. That last one did get a little bit hairy. They lost a couple of players pretty quick in the final couple of phases once the gunfight started. And then when John Wick went down, given that the man got 8 kills in the whole of that Erangel game, I thought maybe it was risky, but his teammates come through with the 1v1. And credit where it's due, GoodBoys did kind of give him that win a little bit. Not because Rich played it poorly, but because Rich played well, and he picked up the only 2-man team remaining by himself. That was a 2v1v1 for the final 4. That should have been SNG's game. They had the man advantage, but Rich takes down both and opens up the 1v1. Yeah,
he did have the ghillie suit on, so it was very hard to spot. But he had the ghillie and the dinner plate, or the DP28, which is a unique weapon for Erangel, and he manages to take him out. A good spray. I do enjoy using the DP as well. It's very, very satisfying gun to use.
I know what the DP28 is, but you said dinner plate, and I was just like, no.
It's because the
I know, like
mag
the mag
is
round, like
it's a big dinner plate.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, but you said dinner plate, and I'm thinking like a skin for the pan or something. Like I know what the gun is, but I was not on the same page.
No, you call it dinner plate. It looks like a dinner plate.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I wouldn't eat dinner off it. A chicken dinner though, probably.
A chicken dinner if I got one. And using the DP, I'd definitely go for it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's thematically appropriate at that point. But
definitely.
Look, I think it's well done for Rich, really. I think he was almost the most valuable player out of the final 4 there to be able to pick up both SNG players. And the 1v1, unfortunately, not going his way. It was a very near thing indeed. Very close. And that would have been, I think we run that final 4 10 more times, SNG would have won at 8. Yeah,
definitely. I think 8's a reasonable number. I don't think 404 got a bit lucky at the end there, but sometimes the cards fall your way. And we've had an exciting first day of the wildcard. We've had an end zone, a heal off end zone. We've had a 37-point game. We've had a 35-point game. We've had a Sanhok game that was pretty good as well. Ended on the water edge.
The Sanhok game happened.
Sanhok game happened.
I'm not saying it was a bad game, but in comparison to the other ones, we had 2 massive kill games on Erangel. and then a clutch heal-off finish in the other. So all good games, though, for day number 1. I'm still kind of sad we didn't get the island finish on Miramar.
Oh, that was...
I thought it was coming.
That was unfortunate, but maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time.
We'll get one. Surely we'll get one.
Oh, we've got so much PUBG to watch. With the 2 regions that we're covering, it's like 100+ games of PUBG in the next 5 weeks. PUBG Mobile for us, I should say. So we've got a lot of games to watch, but... look, that's getting pretty close now to the end of our first day of the wildcard region. Still a couple things to sum up, some stats to look at, but look, takeaways overall. We've said SNG played really well, which they did, of course. Top 3 in all 4 games. Did anyone else stand out to you?
I mean, AG, they had good Erangels, because they finished okay in the last game as well, probably like a top 8 finish, but they were non-existent on the other maps. And if they want to get and secure themselves a top 4 finish in this first stage, then they need to be performing on those other maps. They can't just one-trick a map. I think that RS played well as well. They played pretty well. Nova started very slowly, but they ended up getting into it by the end. But again, the main takeaway for me today was the sheer one-man show, almost, of John Wick and his massive performances on Erangel. I mean,
speaking of Erangel for AG, having a quick look, we do get Erangel twice every day. So we always just swap out one of the other maps. So sometimes we have no Miramar, so we can have a Vikendi or whatever it might be. There's always Erangel to start and finish. So if AsiaGaming can remain strong on that, then maybe. But you really don't want to be a one-trick pony like that.
No, you really want to have at least one other map that you can perform well on, and they haven't had so far. Maybe they'll show up on Vikendi. We don't know yet.
It's day 1, so it's way too early to call these things just yet. But I mean, I still think they can be pretty happy with 2 strong performances on Erangel.
Oh, certainly.
I mean, going back to the start of the day, we both highlighted a team to watch. You went for the Nova Master Boys, who slowly improved.
They got there in the end. You went for the GoodBoys.
I did.
Who have had a better run today than the Nova Monster guys, because I think they finished 2nd in that game. They had a okay Miramar. Sanhok was a bit slow, but they had a better game 1 definitely than Nova Monster. That's for sure.
And speaking quickly about, well, just other things, we have a little bit more time to fill here. Tomorrow we're going to do Group C and D, so the remaining 32 of 16 teams of this whole region, and it'll be on the same map rotation for that, so once again see another Erangel, Sanhok, Miramar, and Erangel to finish. So that's basically how this is going to work. We do each half of the groups on the same rotation of maps, and then we change the rotation as we move through. So I think that will be interesting. Of course, we haven't seen anyone from the other bracket play just yet, so that's something that we'll get to tomorrow night when we get to that point. We'll see how all of those guys perform. Yeah,
those guys have been able to watch the games today too, and kind of see how the meta goes for this tournament. You know, see what guns are being used, what positions are being taken. So I'm expecting a higher level tomorrow, if that's even possible, a higher level of PUBG Mobile, and I don't know who I'm going to pick for my team that day. I'm going to go away tonight, do some research, and then pick a winner tomorrow.
All right, well, I'll keep that in mind and ask you tomorrow then. So while we're talking meta and such things, are there any big takeaways from you for PUBG Mobiles? This is you've watched a lot of PUBG and all that sort of thing, but this is the first time in mobile realms for you. Is there any big meta shifts that you're seeing, or anything you'd like to point out?
Oh, just the spray control, I guess, is really good on PUBG Mobile, and you see the assault rifles acting almost like lasers. It's interesting to see how teams split as well. In other games, maybe there's 2-2 splits more. It seems like teams like to stay together in PUBG Mobile and move as a group. We saw AG doing that very well on Sanhok when they took out that squad. Unfortunately, they got pincered by SNG, but you can see how teams flush out and work things out in PUBG Mobile, and it's really good to see. There is obviously a difference between the teams that have set strategies and set plans to deal with compound breaching and teams that kind of just wing it. And teams like SNG, AsiaGaming, and GoodBoys, they kind of have this idea of how to compound breach, and it really shows how they're at the top of the standings now.
The other thing for me that stands out watching PUBG Mobile as opposed to watching PC PUBG is the aggression in early round.
Yeah.
There's a lot of early round squad wipes, like 404 in particular. I think got 3 in 3 out of 4 maps. So, or 1 in each map anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, like 3 early wipes. Normally, I mean, well, not normally, but on other platforms, we don't see that anywhere near as much. But it seems on mobile, there's a lot more sort of hot dropping, a lot more early round aggression. And that very well could just be a 404 thing. You've seen them do it 3 times. That may just be they like to take that aggression, do some really basic looting, just enough to get guns, because most of the wipes that we saw them get on squads really early were against players with nothing. Maybe an SMG, nothing.
We saw them get a few kills with the pistols, in fact, because it was just that early on in the game. You almost never see that in other platforms. But I want to see a team emulate that tomorrow as well, because we saw it was only really 404 that got into it. Nova Monster had an early squad wipe as well, but it was kind of an accidental type stumbling upon the enemy.
Sort of
Whereas
random.
404 kind of seemed to be very deliberate about it, especially on the way they handled it on Erangel. So I want to see a team tomorrow emulate that and try and one-up them. Maybe get more kills in the early game.
I think our record for kills very early on would so far be from our first Erangel when 404 got 5. So
yeah, they got 5.
We'll have to keep an eye on that. But now looking into the standings for the game we just had, it's 404 era with a chicken dinner, 14 kills, 34 points overall. GoodBoys 10 points behind SNG, as we've said. Consistency in a team. They come in third with 7 kills, getting themselves another 17 points, which I think is roughly how far they were ahead of second place in the overall standings. So they've done very well. WatchMyGp doing much better, or doing pretty silly actually. They've had some decent performances. Yeah. No Mercy have moved up, being in 5th.
Yeah, that was the no kills for No Mercy that game. They kind of just snuck in behind. Yeah, they kind of snuck. They started on Zaki and they didn't have to move too far for the circle, but they ended up having to rotate it through a lot of teams and then you got picked.
I think they lost 2 to the play zone as well.
They did, yeah. AsiaGaming coming in 9th, rounding up. So not being able to repeat their performance on Erangel earlier, but Royal Squad were up in the top 5 teams and they went a very quiet game, as we can see the overall leaderboard.
Royale Squad as well got a chicken dinner in the last game to go out 16th in Erangel the second time around, but SNG, AsiaGaming, Royale Squad and 404 Era, our 4 teams with the chicken dinners, do make up the top 4, and my gosh, look at that lead for SNG Club. 30 points between them and second,
on the first
10
day,
points between second and 4th. The rest of the ladder is so much closer. I mean, between second and 8th is what, 16 points?
Yeah, I was saying that 40 was about an average to get on a game. I mean, it seems like that on a day, and they've gone and doubled that. They got 85 points in the first day.
Yeah, there's a bigger gap between first and second than there is between second and 8th.
That is incredible.
There is between first... Wait, so it's what, 30 points?
Yep.
Second we're on 55?
Yep.
So yeah, it's the same gap is between second and 10th as there is between first and second.
That is incredible stuff from them. I can't wait to see if any team can try to catch them up. As we see the teams yet to play, they'll play tomorrow. There's some big names there too. We've got the other Nova team playing. We've got Team Gravity, Marauders, and Dodgy.
I'm just amazed at that SNG lead. Like, I knew they'd perform well, we knew they got top 3s, but to have the distance between first and second be the same as second to 10th.
Well, we saw a lot of previous winners, such as AsiaGaming and RS, have a win, and then they drop completely off the map. And that kind of dictates that there's going to be a lot of teams sitting in that second to 10th, as you said, because nobody's consistently winning. But SNG were the only team that were consistent in that high placement. Still no repeat winners, though. Yeah,
well, that's one thing. We've had 4 different chicken dinners for 4 games. Look, I think they'll be pretty happy with how they've played so far, how they've played today. They want to keep going, of course. SNG, 30 points ahead is a nice lead, but, I mean, look, the first game for AsiaGaming, pardon me, was 37 points. They had a 35 of their own, so, I mean, this 30 points is not unbreachable for any of these teams. It's a big lead, but come 2 days' time, when we come back to Group A and B, there's a lot to be done. Yeah, they only need one big game they can get caught up, or maybe if SNG have a few bad games. But if you want to play like SNG, again, download on the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, depending on your device, and you can get into into PUBG Mobile, and maybe one day you'll compete on the stage with these guys. I mean, I kind of want to play it now. I know my illusions would be shattered, but that was...
You got a long road to climb.
Oh, absolutely. There's a long way to go, but look, it's good fun. Certainly very good fun to watch for them. And now we move forward, pardon me, into day number 2. It's still technically day 1, but it's for new teams. It's day 1 for Group C and D. Anyway, I know where I'm going with this. Point is, we've got another day of games for the Wildcard region on the same map rotation for Groups C and D, and then we'll go back to the teams you just saw, A and B again, swap out some maps.
Well, we'll mix it up. I think it will be like A versus C.
Oh, no, it's A and C. Sorry, you're right. And then B and D.
And so that's when we'll start seeing those cross-group drops. Maybe A and B have already had some experience playing against each other and they know where each other's going to drop, but maybe a group from A and a team from C drop at the same location, and that's when we're going to see a lot of action coming in, and I can't wait to see who emerges the top.
Yeah, I'm personally looking forward to that, but look, that's been 4 games of PUBG. We're pretty much done for the day now.
Yeah, that's it. We will be done for the day, but come back tomorrow, same time, same place, for some more epic mobile PUBG action.